Top work, Mitchell.
Good evening. Welcome back to Where the Owls Sleep. It's another Sunday evening. You're on with the Parliament. How's it going, Stocks? You good?
Very good, mate. Very good. We had the pleasure of watching a game. All right, we weren't together, but we watched it at the same time for once. Orient game on Saturday afternoon.
Ah, yes. Glorious, glorious. It's a shame Jack's not here this week because we could have given him a bit of stick that Bolton definitely aren't making the playoffs now. So, but yes, lovely watch.
Yeah.
Orient 1-0 win. Got to have a bit of that.
Gritty 1-0 win.
Against a very good Wickham side as well, to be fair. Third, I believe, in the league, didn't they? They were looking to win to get automatic promotion rather than being in the playoffs as well.
Yeah, it's most likely if Orient get in the playoffs, they'll be playing Wickham.
That'll be interesting. Straight back into it. One more game to go, though. One win next week. That's what we need. Need that one more win to confirm it.
Yeah. I think either way, I'll be watching playoff football.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. Playoff football over the Club World Cup. That's what I'm saying. Right, apologies. I don't know how delayed I was there jumping back in. I had a slight technical issue, but we are a three-man team this week. Samir, welcome. How's it going? You good?
Yes, well, yes. All good. Yeah, busy weekend. Didn't really. Yeah, I'm kind of fuming now that I didn't get invited to Leighton Orient, but we'll move on.
We didn't go. We was just watching it on TV. Bro.
I thought you went to the game.
We wasn't even in the same room. He was in Reading and I was at home, and we were just both watching Orient.
Oh, it's funny enough because I saw Stocks on Saturday. I thought Saturday. I didn't get it.
No.
Even though I was busy, I had a busy weekend.
It would have been. I know a few people that went. It would have been good to go, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
That. We was both sat at home watching the game.
Oh,
I
didn't even know it was on
TV. Sky Plus, is it that you've got Stocks?
Yeah,
they show a lot of games. I found out that I can get pretty much any football league game going.
Yeah.
So delighted about it.
Fully forgot about that one.
Yeah. But away from the Football League, let's get into Premier League business this weekend. We'll start with Saturday. Two things really to talk about. It's the the European places race is sort of the last thing to sort out. Relegation's been sorted. The title was pretty much done, but finally confirmed today. But we'll start with Saturday anyway. The main games we need to look at. Chelsea-Everton. I thought Everton would probably get something here, but on the day we're a little bit unfortunate. Did anybody catch much of this one?
No, I didn't watch any of the Saturday games, to be fair. Stocks.
Nah, I was watching the Orient game. I know Nicholas Jackson got one. I did watch it on Match of the Day, but it kind of just went over my head.
It was a very weird game.
Yeah.
Very strange, because I'm not sure if it was a Maresca tactic, but the same pattern kept happening. So every time the ball either went into Beto or who's the tricky wide guy?
And
Dai, that's it. Every time it went into either of them, Chelsea swarmed around them and nicked it. And then as soon as it dropped to a Chelsea player, they played it straight into Jackson. And that happened 4 or 5 times in the first sort of half hour until the goal. And then it didn't really happen again after that. So I'm not sure if that was something Maresca picked up on. Or it just kept happening because neither of them were holding the ball very well. But it was literally a mirror image 4 times over until Jackson scored. And then it literally didn't happen again after that. It was very strange.
I watched Sky Sports news today, and they were pretty much saying how that they've done that, and then after the goal, Everton went pretty much defensive because they were just talking mostly about Cole Palmer, how Cole Palmer couldn't do much because of how Everton was going defensive. Defensive.
I wouldn't say that, because I would say Sanchez had to make the better saves after the Chelsea goal.
Yeah. I heard
Like, he
that.
made 2 of 3 very good saves. Palmer's just not been in it because he's just not been at it. Like we was talking about last week, he's just not been at the races. And I've noticed on Twitter, Stocky retweeted something yesterday, or commented on something yesterday, that like the last 17 games he's been non-existent. So people are finally picking up on it.
Finally, isn't it? That's true.
Yeah, we was a week earlier than that.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's so true.
Actually fully looking at the underlying stats rather than just looking at 14 and 10 in the league and thinking, he's having an alright season.
Yeah, it's starting to pick up on it finally.
Yeah. Outside of that, we had Southampton losing to Fulham. Very late goal from Sessegnon to win that one. Wolves are on a crazy run of form. I think that's 7 from 7. That bonkers run of form from them. We'll skirt over the next one, which is Brighton West Ham. I'm sure Stocky won't want to speak about 2 goals in the last 10 minutes. Frustratingly. And then Newcastle. I missed that.
Nothing to add. We weren't. Krug was right last week.
Yeah, it was
right.
Yeah, it was one of them. I'll say a little bit on it. It was one of them that I looked at and thought, that's a good win for West Ham. And then I checked back about 10 minutes later and was like, oh my God, Stocky's going to be raging.
Yeah. I wanted you lot to finish up above United.
Well, it's still possible.
Of course,
I was in a pub up London, and I was waiting for someone, and so I was like, oh, 1-0 down. Oh well. Ooh, 1-1, 2-1, and then just for fuck's I was just
yeah. That the third is one of I can envisage your reaction if you've seen it back, because it's one of the most frustrating goals to see from the supporters, managers, any kind of point of view, because it's just lazy closing down. That is all it comes down to, is lazy closing down.
Finish though.
Yeah. Good finish, but there's no way he should have got a shot off. Like, the closing down was way too late. He was shaping to shoot until they started closing him down, which is just not good enough. But anyway, on to, Newcastle, quite comfortable win against Ipswich in the end. We look shaky for the first 20, but keeps us in third at the minute, which I'm loving, because I've been saying that for a very long time, and I do like an I told you so moment. So if we can keep third place, I'll be very happy with that.
Possibly catch us.
Nah. You're gonna have to fully not win a game for the rest of the season, I think.
You think?
There's not many games left, and you're like, what, 7 clear of us?
No, it's like 5, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's like 5.
No, it can't be that close. I think you must have a game in hand though. There.
No, we played on Tuesday.
Oh yeah, crap! It is 5.
Yeah, we played on Tuesday.
5 points with 4 to go.
Yeah, and you got to face us.
Yeah.
And you got to face us.
Wait, if we make it 4 from 4 against you this season, you've got problems with me. You have got a problem. You're not even at the end of that. Right.
Oh man!
Especially if you don't score as well. If we beat you to 0 4 times in the same season, you're finished. You can't talk to me about football for a while.
No, we got to score, man. There's no way. No way. Clean sheet, losing 4 times in a row. Nah. I can't do this. But we've got bigger fish to fry, man. I'm not worried. I'm not watching Premier League anymore, man. I'm done with it. We can finish third, just not 4th. We can finish third if it comes down to that.
Yeah, well, it's all the same, really, isn't it? It doesn't really make up much difference. True. It's all the same now. Right, so on to today. Bournemouth, Man United. Man United were very lucky to come away with a draw there, I feel, because Bournemouth were on top until a very dubious red card, if you ask me. So they were lucky to get away with one. And then on to the last game of the weekend, Premier League-wise, Liverpool-Tottenham. Before we get into the actual game and Liverpool being champions, both me and Stocky have got a bit of a gripe with this. So I'm going to let Stocky go first, because neither of us are happy about this whatsoever. Do you want to lead off with it, Stocks?
Yeah, I think it's a shocker from Sky, the FA, everyone having a sort of a game on the same time as the FA Cup semi-final because people wouldn't want to watch both. It was a side wrapping up the title and an FA Cup semi-final. Why would you play them at the same time? Just surely they could have arranged the schedules or not had Bournemouth Man United. I mean, who cares about that? They could have had the Liverpool one earlier. Yeah, I just find it a bit odd and sort of a half to watch two games, which wasn't particularly fun. Really, I'd rather just watch both of them at different times. It's a bit well, I hate everyone disrespecting the FA Cup. And then like we got a quick FA Cup game, and then if it's a good thing I turned Sky off because I couldn't listen to them lavish Liverpool days. That'd be quite boring. But yeah, just disrespecting both competitions just because of TV.
Yeah,
fed up with it.
Yeah, I saw you both tweet that. To be fair, and that is true. I didn't get it. I had to watch one on my phone, and I watched the Liverpool Spurs game on TV, literally at the same time. I just couldn't keep up though. It just didn't work.
It's just pathetic, especially because they've decided that the FA Cup semi-finals are all Wembley. So you have an FA Cup semi-final at Wembley, and then you have Liverpool clinching the title at the same time. It makes no sense. Regardless of Liverpool clinching the title, FA Cup semi-finals should not be played at the same time as any other football match.
Yeah, exactly.
At top level.
Yeah.
It should be the focus of the day's football. Even if they moved, what would have been the harm in moving both of today's Premier League games to yesterday and having one of them stupidly long days of football, and then just having two FA Cup finals back to back? Like, it's not like they're going to need to relay Wembley because two games are played on the same day. Just have them a little bit wider apart than you normally would. Like, why not make a proper event of it rather than leave it? Like, no Liverpool fan is watching the FA Cup semi-final today. They probably don't actually care in the grand scheme of things, but everybody likes an FA Cup final. Come on.
Yeah. Did yesterday's FA Cup game clash with anything? They didn't, did they?
No, it was the only late game they had on yesterday.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So they paid respects in that way, but why didn't they do the same today? It makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. They played the FA Cup yesterday's FA Cup semi-final, left it in the same slot, and whacked Man United at that crazy 8:00 slot that they love to do. Yeah. And then they lose a Sky game. Then move Liverpool Tottenham to the early game today, and then the FA Cup semi-final, the late game today. That it just sort of tarnishes the FA Cup a bit and takes a little bit of a gloss off of it when people have to pick if they can watch a semi-final or not.
Yeah. Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah, it was frustrating enough for me yesterday that a completely different sport, boxing.
Oh yeah,
one of the best cards that has been on in the UK for years started before the FA Cup semi-final. So I had to sort of flip between the two of that because there was good fights all the way through that card, and I wanted to watch everything. Even that was a little bit annoying for me, let alone two actual football matches, one Premier League and the FA Cup semi-final. Yeah. Highly frustrating.
That's what happens in the Greedies Good League, isn't it?
Yeah. 100%. You sounded a bit like Sam there, Stocks.
Oh mate, I've been saying this for a long time. What is it Mez used to say? When you dance with the devil, you wait for the music to stop.
Right, might as well roll into it. We spoke about it already. Liverpool today have clinched the title. Not going to go too deep into it because it's been done for quite a while, to be fair. But it's quite an impressive feat, really. Slot's first season, they've kind of run away with it. Ended up, at the minute, they're 15 points clear of second place Arsenal. So it's quite an impressive turnaround for them, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's done it a different way, a very different way to Klopp. They're a lot more measured. they control games a lot more than Klopp did at times.
Yeah.
Like Klopp's team would blow you away, but Slot's team will just control you throughout a game, really. And I find him quite likable.
Yeah.
Today he was like, I saw an interview with him. He was very low key. He's like, I haven't improved any players. I've just got everyone fitter.
And that's it.
It's rather downplaying yourself, but that's kind of nice in today's age of hyperbole and etc. etc. It's nice for someone to downplay their achievements. I think he's improved players. I think Gravenbach was excellent this year. Real standout player. He tweaked the front three. That's worked. Convinced Van Dijk and Salah to sign on. Gets an A-star, really. You can't ask for much more. Probably the hardest bit now would just be trying to replicate it. But for now, enjoy it because they've won it at a canter.
Yeah. It sounds quite weird to say, but even looking at their squad, it looks like they're going to need quite a few players to put up a big fight again next season. It sounds weird to say with the champions, considering they've won it by so far. But would anybody agree with that? Because I look at it and think if Trent goes, they definitely need a right back. They could do with a left back. Are they really going to bank on everybody being fit again next year? So they kind of need a backup for Van Dijk and Salah.
Yeah.
You would probably say that, like most teams in the league, they need a good number 9. It's weird looking at it that way because they have won the league at a canter, really, but it's a question of in the Prem, do you go backwards when you stand still?
Absolutely the case, mate. Absolutely the case. Well, you talk about left back. Like at times, I think Robertson's been a bit iffy at times this year, and he's been found out. When we get into our main subject, I know one of the players in that is heavily retweeted going in at left back.
Yep.
Jury's still out on Alexander-Arnold. To be honest, I'm not really sure. I found it funny at the beginning of the year, Salah was ripping it up, and as the seasons wore on, he's like, I know he still gets the numbers, but it just wasn't quite as dominant as he was at the beginning of the season. I'd be interested to see if that's a trend, because how old is he now? To me, you'll have more chance remembering this than me. Is he like 32?
32? Yeah, I think 32.
So, Father Time, don't wait for no one. So, I know he's incredibly fit, but you've got to do it for a season. Then have Champions League again next year. I think Van Dijk's a classy individual. The way he plays at centre half, he'll be fine, providing he gets no major injuries. Perhaps number 9's an issue, you say, Mitch. I did read today that they might look to get rid of Jota and Nunez.
I don't know about Jota, but maybe Nunez. And that's what I think, Mitch, when they're starting to say like Liverpool probably need like 6 or 7 players, because I feel a lot of people are going to be leaving, getting sold, sorry. And like you just need to add to what you have in a sense. So maybe they do need 6 or 7 new signings, to be stronger next year.
What I would say is their midfield today was on it.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, it is Tottenham, though.
McAllister. Huh?
At the same time, it is Tottenham. They batter Tottenham all the freaking time.
I can't believe I haven't mentioned. Well, obviously we deservedly talked about Liverpool, but while we're there, my God, they properly got their belly tickled, didn't they?
Yeah, they're a terrible, terrible side at the minute, Tottenham.
Honestly.
And yet they've got a Europa League semi-final on Thursday.
That's dirty, man. Honestly, that is disgusting. How can you have 19 losses but almost end up in Champions League next season? Like how?
It's crazy. 19 losses is wild. They've lost their Premier League games already, and there's 4 left to go.
There's 4 left to go. It's not done there. They've still got some teams to face as well. So. Oh my! 19 losses.
That is nasty.
It's not loud enough for me, man. It's not loud enough.
Sell Crappy Code next week.
Oh, yeah, you lot got each other. Oh, please, I need you lot to win, man. I need you lot to win. Oh, God. I really do.
Definitely be tuning in for that one. Right.
I ain't, mate.
While we're still
Well done, Liverpool.
Yeah, well done. Good, very well played. Actually, the last thing I want to say on it, I can't really remember what the points would have been this time last season, to be fair. But do you think it could be a case of it is one of the poorer Premier Leagues? Because I don't feel like they've set a ridiculous points total to win it. Like at the minute, they're on 82 with
Yeah,
4 to go.
yeah.
So even if they win their last 4, that's only another 12 points. That's 94 points. I know that's high, but we've seen some. I'm pretty sure we've seen Liverpool get that and not win it over the last 5 years.
Yeah, something close to that, to be fair. Yeah.
I don't know. Does that mean the league's poor, or there's more just strength in depth below? Like, I sometimes I don't listen to people that say the league's poor. So it just means there's more teams that can challenge you because of the vast wealth that's in Premier League. They can afford better players.
Yeah.
I'd like my example all season's been Evan Nilsson at Bournemouth was a starting striker for Porto, and they bought him for 50 million.
Exactly, that's true.
Like there's so much money swashing around that teams are going to improve their squads.
Yeah, I don't think the standards of like games of like I don't think there's been like a standout game like this season in terms of that. I don't think there's been too many like great games. I'd say that it's been poor if you look at the league that way. I don't think there's been a standout game. Like, can you remember a game we thought, oh wow, what a game like this season? It's not too many. I can't think of one right now.
I think it's different, mate. I always used to think that when I watched the game down the pub and it had more than 3 goals in, I used to go, "Oh, that was great." When you watch it indoors, you're less invested.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. That is very true. Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, both of them are quite good points. I'm sort of from Stocky's point of view of I don't view it as the Premier League being poor at all. I view it as the same as Stocky said, like most of the teams have just improved and there's a lot more strength and depth in the league now. But then also on the flip of that, as Samir said that, I was trying to think of like games this season, whether there was any like games that you think back on and think, wow, what a game. And I genuinely can't think of any.
Me too. I can't think of one. And I also look at the whole VAR stuff. Like, when they didn't have the what's the new system? The new offside system they have.
Automated.
When they didn't have that, and it was just taking so freaking long to just like look at VAR and stuff. I feel that killed a lot of games as well. Just slowed everything down. Yeah, that's what it is. I think this year just felt slow. It just felt slow. Like watching all these games felt slow and boring and stuff like that. And I think most of it was down to like VAR checks.
Yeah, I suppose that could be the case.
I think it got worse this year. I think it got worse.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe could be right, to be fair. Right, let's do one more bit on the league before we move into FA Cup semi-final stuff. Let's have a little look at the European race because it's the only thing left to do. And to be fair, for the main places in the European race, it's looking very juicy at the minute. So we've got Newcastle sat in fourth on 62, third on 62. Man City sat fourth, 61. Chelsea sat fifth, 60. Forest also on 60 points, sat in sixth, but have a game in hand over everybody. And Villa 3 points further back on 57. So it looks to me like Villa probably have the toughest task of the lot because they've got 3 points just to make up on sixth place, who have also got game in hand. But who would you bet if you had to put money on 2 teams not making into the Champions League? Who would you be betting on at this point?
I'd go Villa and Chelsea.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that as well.
Yeah, well, we're all in agreement there.
Yeah. I think Villa and Chelsea as well.
Yeah, I would have gone Villa and Chelsea as well, to be fair, because they've actually also got some pretty hard fixtures from what I think of. So Chelsea have got Liverpool at home, Newcastle away, Man United at home, Forest away. And then Villa have got Fulham at home, Bournemouth away, Tottenham at home, Man United away.
Last two are easy.
Yeah, well, they're just weird sides, though, aren't they? You never really know. Like,
I think
going to Old Trafford is never a given.
Yeah, especially for Chelsea as well. Chelsea are not exactly like a good team. I think United could do something there. To be fair, playing at home.
Yeah, and they've both also suffered quite major disappointment this weekend of going out of the FA Cup semi-finals. And Villa have now got back-to-back as well. Back-to-back weeks where they've had major cup disappointment.
Yeah.
Well, I know we're going to speak about it in the FA Cup bit, but I feel two different vibes going from Forest and Villa FA Cup wins actually. But
okay,
I'll save that for the
FA
Cup games.
We might as well get into it because we've all said who we think's going to make it into the Champions League spaces. We had Crystal Palace and Villa on Saturday at 5:30, which was quite a convincing win for Crystal Palace. I thought they were exceptional on the day, to be fair. Eze scoring an amazing first goal, and then Palace sort of ran away from it there, looked quite comfortable. And then today we had Forest against Man City. Forest got a kick in the nuts pretty early on with a goal after 2 minutes, which left them with a mountain to climb. But actually had loads of chances to get back into the game and to take the game into extra time and penalties and whatnot. They hit the post 3 or 4 times, missed a couple of other quite easy chances. Even at 1-0, they had a great chance. And then City went up the other end and scored. We'll start with the Palace Villa. Stocky, you were saying you got different vibes from the games. What sort of vibe would you get in from this one then?
Crystal Palace were excellent, and they really, really pulled Villa apart. I mean, to a degree, 3-0 I thought flattered them. So Mateta missed a penalty as well. Tyrick Mitchell missed a sitter in front of goal, didn't he? Where he totally miscued it on his right. Star went close with a couple of others apart from the 2 he got. I mean, Palace just done an absolute job. I didn't watch the entire game, but I've seen enough. I must have watched maybe around 60, 65 minutes live, and then sort of caught. They properly battered them. Again, Villa really couldn't muster much against them. I know they've had a tough couple of weeks, but yeah, they just got absolutely pumped. But Palace really were excellent.
Yeah, because we
mentioning
with who?
Adam Wharton.
Oh yeah, I heard that was a good game. Yeah,
I've been on the Adam Wharton bandwagon since the end of last season. He is a fantastic player.
Yeah, I already had a good game. I think with Palace, we faced them on Tuesday, and they were a complete different side. So I'm not shocked by the result because they could have beaten us as well. They were just relentless against us at both times on Tuesday. So I imagine they took that confidence into that FA Cup game because I think I'm sure the results before they faced us weren't great. They got smashed by you. I can't remember the other results, but yeah, I reckon they've taken that confidence where they faced us and took that into the game against Villa because Villa are not an easy team to beat like that, especially 3-0. That was a shocking result for me, to be fair. When I saw that, I was like, wow. I was like, and they missed the pen. I'm just like, no way.
Villa. Yeah, you say that. I wasn't all all that surprised. Like, watching us against Palace, they were terrible when we beat them 5-0, to be fair. And then they were good for half an hour against City the week before and then fell apart.
Yeah.
They were decent against Hughes. But I've never been... Even when Villa beat us quite comfortably last week, I gave them their props. They played really well. I wasn't massively impressed. Like, there's just something... I don't know. They just don't look like a team that are hard to get at when you're set up right. And if you're at it, and if you match their work rate, you'll beat them. And that's always sort of my vibe with Villa. I don't think they're a fantastic footballing team, but they work their nuts off and they strangle the life out of games quite a lot of the time and just batter people into submission. And then once everybody's dead on their feet, they've got good changes to make to keep it fresh so that they can just keep going and going and going. So when they're a little bit off it, these kind of results happen. It happens to us as well. Like Bournemouth earlier in the season, we were slightly off it. They took us to pieces. We were massively off it against Villa. They took us to pieces. It's just the way they play. I just don't think there's... I think if they get their game plan or they're not quite 100%, they're quite easy to put goals past.
Yeah. Did Watkins start?
Yeah.
Rashford is injured. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, just because I
was really hoping Watkins would do something, but he didn't.
Yeah.
There's just something going on there. I only asked because obviously like the whole Emery and him being dropped for Rashford. So it's just like I think there's since then Villa have been off it. So I don't know if there's nothing amongst like the group where it's all going off now.
On that, I would say that when you get a player like Marcus Rashford on loan, there will be stipulations within the contract that,
I said that as well. Yeah.
that don't suit the club he goes to as much as they would like it to.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're kind of seeing a little bit of now.
That
he has stipulations that he either has to play a certain amount when he's fit or something like that. There must be something like that in the loan contract to
100%.
protect Rashford, but it doesn't protect Villa. So it will affect Watkins.
Yeah.
But Villa have done this to themselves with these loans, to be fair.
Go
on, Stocks.
It could be financial. If he doesn't play, they may have to pay a bigger contribution of wages or something like that. Because some loan contracts are structured like that. Like you'll pay a certain percentage if they play X amount of minutes, but if they play under that, you have to pay a high percentage. So what's the point of sending them out on loan if they're not going to play? So
exactly.
Yeah, like you say.
But wouldn't you have them both starting? Like if you two were both managers of the
what would we start both Rashford and Watkins?
Yeah, like Rashford on the left and Watkins up front.
No, Morgan Rogers plays on the left. That's never happening.
Rogers plays on the left.
Yeah, he plays from the left and then drifts in, doesn't he?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and neither of Watkins or Rashford would be any use to anybody on the right. So it's one or the other for me.
But who are you going with? Because Watkins is their top scorer at the moment. You bring in Rashford, who's just ruined all that, like in a sense, because Watkins hasn't really scored too many goals recently, but he's still probably got 10+ goals. So who are you choosing? I'd say.
I would say on form over the last 2 years, I would go Ollie Watkins. If I would go on best form throughout their career, their peak that we've seen throughout their career, I'd go Marcus Rashford. But you can get why Villa have done it, because like they lost Duran in January. They've gone deep into 2 cup competitions now. Fair enough, they're out of both the Champions League and the FA Cup. They couldn't have kept Ollie Watkins just to play every single game.
Yeah.
So they had to do something.
Yeah.
And that was their solution.
I get that, but as a striker, you wanna and you're scoring goals. You wanna play every game, right?
Yeah, but you can't. So Villa had to go out and get someone that could come in and play and keep the level at a similar level. And the negative side to that was that Watkins gets less game time.
Yeah.
But you go in and buy someone who's not ready to play top level. You then have to try and figure out where and when you can play that player so it doesn't affect the whole team for that game.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. I reckon it has affected the whole team because obviously Watkins came out in an interview a week or two ago saying that he was fuming.
Yeah.
Live on TV, he said he was fuming. So there we go. It starts from there.
And I totally get why he was fuming. Like I don't disagree with him fuming, and I think it's refreshing for players to come out and just say it out like that.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is he cannot have played. He between January and now, if they didn't sign Rashford, there was no way he could have played every single game.
Yeah, that's true.
And Villa's still been where they are now because, like I was saying a minute ago, once the intensity of their game drops off, they're a complete different side. So if you run your striker into the ground, who's the trigger for your press, you're not going to be as good as a team.
That's true.
And I don't think you can argue much of whether it was the right decision to make for the team because they're still in the race for the Champions League. They got deep into the Champions League itself this season and they've just got to an FA Cup semi-final. So Emery's kind of justified by making the decision. Yes, it's affected Watkins, but it hasn't affected the team as much as it would have done if they had to play Watkins every single week.
Yeah. That's very true.
Right, today's semi-final, Forest Man City. I thought it was a bit of a to and fro kind of game, to be honest. Could have gone either way. 2-0 flat as City a little bit, I feel. They played well in patches, but I thought Forest had some very decent chances and just weren't clinical enough, which is rare for them because they've been just scoring every single chance they get for most of the season.
Was that all in the second half? Because I watched the first, but I didn't really see too many chances in the first half.
I don't think they had a shot in the first half, but in the second half, they hit the post or the bar at least 3 or 4 times.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And one of them from Morgan Gibbs-White is a howler.
Serious?
Is that the one where he ran the keeper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not that tight of an angle for me.
Oh, what? He hit side netting?
So the ball's played through. No, he nicks around the goalie. So he nicks it round the goalie and he's on his right foot.
Yeah.
And he hits the far post and it comes back out.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But it wasn't a super tight angle.
Yeah.
Like it's one that you look at and think he has to score that. He has to. Once he's got around the goalie and he's got to the ball again, he has to. Probably could have took a touch. He has to score.
And that was at 1-0 still.
On the other hand, if his first one that hits the bar goes in, that's the potential for goal of the season. Oh my word!
That's outrageous. Samir, trust me, watch back on the highlights. The effort on this year is like a little clip back to the edge of the box. And he checks back out on his left foot and just gets a lovely instep volley on it. And it clips the bar right by the top corner.
Oh,
it
no.
literally would have been where the Owls sleep if it was it would have been in that little pocket where the Owls sleep.
This is why I feel that I get different vibes from Villa and Forest because I think maybe they had a bit of a mare not playing Alanga. I don't know the reasons why he started on the bench, but as soon as they went back to their tried and tested kind of system, instead of because I think maybe first half they were worried about what Man City were doing, whereas I think we've seen it several times this year. This is the year if you're going to go and attack Man City, do it now because they can't handle it defensively. All right, you leave yourself open to breaks, but I think the rewards were there. And on another day, like Forest could have had 3 or 4.
100%. Their first shot on target, like 30 seconds into the second half, just from a ball over the top to Hudson-Odoi into Alanga, he probably should have scored, but it went wide.
Yeah,
but
and that's why like Forest were ripping it, and that's why I feel a different vibe from Villa. Villa were very meek. Whereas I think Forest played really well second half. They might have their bit between the teeth for the last 4 games.
Yeah, you could be right on that, to be fair. Definitely could be right on that. But what I was going to say on the rotation of Elanga not starting was maybe this is them making sure, again, they just don't burn players out.
Yeah.
Because these players cannot play every single game. They probably can now because they've got 4 left. But up until this point, they've had to manage the odd midweek here and there because they've got FA Cup games coming up. So maybe that's just Nuno's way of making sure nobody burns out.
Yeah, I think we'll probably go all out now, isn't it? That's it. Like start.
Yeah. I reckon they'll probably go 4 games on the trot, same 11 to end the season, unless they get any injuries or anything like that. And the difference for them is they're struggling at fullback now because I don't think either of their fullbacks played today because they're both injured. So, so that could be a little bit of a problem for them. Right, who are we having for the final? I know me and Stocky both said Man City a long time ago. I'm not changing my mind. I'm sticking with City.
Yeah, I'm
going to stick with City through big game mentality. I said it months ago. Pep, all right, they ain't had a good year, but he's still a winner.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, I wouldn't be if Palace played like they did yesterday. They're in with a hell of a shot.
Yeah, I genuinely think the final will be one of the best finals we've seen in a long time. I reckon it's going to be a cracking game of football.
That's a good shout. No, it's a good shout.
Right, let's do it. Let's get into our main topic for the evening. We are going to be talking about... What the hell's just happened there? We are going to be talking about young players playing in England. So we have 3 brackets of player, all similar ages. We're going to talk about players who have got sort of quite a bit of hype about them, look majorly talented, but haven't played loads of minutes or many minutes at all in the Premier League. And then the next bracket up from that, similar type of player, but have just started to get minutes, but haven't really had a full breakout season yet, or we haven't really seen the best of them. And then the top bracket is similar age group, but they are now getting consistent minutes in the Premier League. And we're going to discuss each one as we go through. I'm going to try and get all the pronunciations right, which could go horribly wrong. But first group of players, which is the bottom bracket that I was just talking about, extremely talented looking players, but haven't really had loads of game time in the Premier League. So we're going to go top left and work our way round, which is, we have Freddie Potts, who is a West Ham player who's on loan at Portsmouth in the Championship this season. Mikey Moore, Tottenham's young left winger, who is only 17 years old. Then we have Rio Ngumoha, something like that, who's 16. Liverpool, he has made his first team debut. I believe he played against Plymouth in the FA Cup, which is incredible for a 16-year-old. We've got Josh Achempong, who is a centre-back stroke right-back, plays for Chelsea, 18. Chris Rigg, who is a 17-year-old who's playing very well in the Championship for Sunderland. A lot of teams after him at the minute. We've got Chido Obi Martin, who is a striker who has scored a bag load of goals in youth football, who is on the cards of Man United now, used to be at Arsenal. Tyrick George, or Angry Saka as people have started calling him, who's 19. He's also a winger who plays for Chelsea. Then we have Harry Amass, left back, Man United, who's just started getting minutes in the first team. And also Ayden Heaven, who is a centre back who now plays for Man United, who also used to be at Arsenal, just started getting first team minutes. The one I'm going to start with here is Freddie Potts, because he's a West Ham guy. Stocky's a West Ham fan. So I think we're going to get the most information on this one. So let's have a little chat about Freddie Potts, Stock. As far as I'm aware, he's a DM, right?
Yeah, he's a proper DM. He started getting a couple of first team appearances in Europe as it goes, in the Conference League.
Okay.
So he was in the final squad when we won it. Last year he was out on loan to Wycombe, and he got Players Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year. And then this year he's been on loan at Portsmouth in the Championship. So
Nice.
the progression in the level he's playing keeps going up and up. We were watching we saw him come on one European game, and my dad went, "It's just like a carbon copy of Declan Rice, like the movement, the height, build, not quite as athletic yet as Declan was at that age, but yeah, just seems a really good player. And he's got good reviews all year in the Championship. Like, at Wickham, they were raving about him, and Portsmouth have been very happy with him. Like, he's a regular starter. If you're like 18, 19 and starting regularly in the Champo, I think that's an extremely strong indication for being able to handle the physical demands of Premier League football. Because if you can do it in the Champo, you can do it anywhere, because you've got to be hard to play in that league.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like the West Ham loan team have got this perfect, because moving from Wickham and then moving up to the Championship, and he's not just at loan at Portsmouth and getting the odd game. He's played 36 games this season and nearly 3,000 minutes of football in the Championship. So that is an excellent loan move for West Ham to get. I think he's slightly older than you said. I think he's actually 21 now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, but he's now played over the last 2 seasons. He's played about 6,000 minutes of football. Half of them in League One, half of them in the Championship, which is excellent development for his age.
Yeah, that's progress.
I'm really hoping that he's involved a lot more in our first team next year. Like, he's not too many bells and whistles about what he does. It's just more how he occupies space. Always makes himself available for the easy ball, just to recycle it on, just keep it ticking.
Nice. So you'd say he's more of a? Would you say he's more of like what I call a metronome DM, who gets it, gives it, gets it, gives it, finds a little bit of space, keeps the team ticking, rather than some DMs are like smash everything, win the ball, play it easy, and then you don't see him in the build-up much.
Absolutely metronome thing, but again, he's got some decent size about him, so in years that could develop. But for now, he just keeps the ball moving, and it's interesting. Like I say, there's going to be we assume there's going to be a lot of turnover, and I really hope he's a beneficiary of coming in and impressing Potter pre-season.
Good, like it. Sounds like a promising player. Right, Samir, I'm going to ask you a question here. Do you know much about any of these players on the screen? Because that's who we're going to go to next. Do you know anything about the 2 ex-Arsenal boys, Chido or Ayden?
Yes. I was with Heaven heard through someone like I used to work with, so he knew he knew his dad, and this was before he didn't make a appearance for Arsenal yet, but he was basically saying in the pre-season just gone, like my son's like gonna make it. Like he said that to my manager that I used to work with. He said, yeah, that his son is the real deal. And we saw him in pre-season this season. He played a centre back. I was thinking, who is this tall like thing? He's spoken about like around coaches and stuff like that, but like no one really knew of him. So I saw him in pre-season. I thought, okay, we might have someone here, like because I can't remember the last time we had someone from youth come in and they're like centre backs. Like I thought, all right, we might have one here. So hearing he was going to Man United, I think a few Arsenal fans were hurt by that, and you can see it in like his Instagram comments and stuff like that. Like a few Arsenal fans were upset about that one. But I saw him when he played for Man United this season. He played against us, and he looked solid, mate. I think he's 18.
18 years old. He's a left-footed centre back, which is it's like unicorn shit. Left-footed centre backs. Everybody loves a left-footed centre back.
Yeah. I don't even think Man United really have one apart from Martinez actually. But he slotted in for Martinez, and he was against us. He was solid. And you can see us at 18 playing centre back like with so much confidence. It's like, almost like Skelly, just like no care in the world. Look, I've been playing here for 20 years. Like he's just that. He looked good, and I think he's definitely got a bright future. I don't know about United because obviously what United are going through right now, but I think they could look forward to having this. And I'm slightly disappointed that he left because he does look solid and he does look like he's going to have a good future.
Do you know much about why he decided to make that move?
No. I tried to ask my manager. I said he asked his dad, but I don't think he's gonna tell us why. But I think United offered a lot more. I personally think United offered a lot more. I think the same with Obi Martin.
Yeah,
Man United offered a lot more.
Obi Martin's getting appearances. He come on today.
Yeah, and he's been on a few times, and I think it's down to because obviously United are struggling up front. So fans are screaming for him to start, like, try him out. And I've seen him a few times, and I don't think the confidence is there yet. Because it's like you said, he's in the under 18s. He's absolutely killing it. He's bossing it for us and United. He's bossing it. But when he comes on, he just like today. I think he had a chance and he just scuffed it. Like, and I just think like the confidence ain't there yet. But when he does get the confidence, I think he's going to be a lethal striker.
Yeah. I'll go with that. We'll talk about both of these as a pair, as it's a similar thing because it's Arsenal to Man United, and it's all happened over the last few years. So, Chido Obi Martin, he's now played. He hasn't played loads of minutes in the Premier League. He's made, from looking at this, he's made 5 appearances and still only played under 90 minutes. But the thing that stands out for me is in youth football this season for Man United. So it says Premier League under 18s and FA Youth Cup. He's played 10 games and he's got 12 goals, 1 assist in 700 minutes of football. Like, that is crazy stats. Considering he is only 17 himself. That is crazy stats, which is why it surprises me slightly when you do see him snatching at stuff when he comes on for Man United. Because I think I know the chance he was talking about. I think it was Garnett. Shaw cut it across. And he kind of scuffed it into the floor.
Yeah.
And normally when you get strikers who seem to be, who score goals at youth level, they can still score goals moving up. So last year at 16, while still at Arsenal, he played 18 under 18 Premier League games at 16, 42 goals and 3 assists.
Yeah. Well, we saw that. We was like, he's got to come first team. He's got to come to the first team.
That is incredible numbers.
Yeah.
Incredible numbers. And somehow he's, I didn't realise that. He plays for Denmark.
Oh, yeah.
He's a Danish under-20 national.
Yeah. At what age again? How old is he?
He's 17 now.
Yeah, at 17. But I think
he'll be 18 in November.
Oh, yeah.
Which is crazy.
I personally think with him, it's just like it's the environment, isn't it? Because you're playing at under 18s. There's not too many. Like, you're going from playing in these, like, not even stadiums. Like, you're playing in training grounds and stuff like that. So you can get the goals there. But when you're going to Old Trafford, you're coming on at Old Trafford. You're coming on all these different stadiums. I feel like he's not. I think it's too quick. I think it's too quick because United were forced to bring him in because both their strikers are horrible. So I think like with him, he's forced. It weren't like naturally bringing him. I think United would have waited a year maybe to like bring him in.
I think that's probably part of the reason he went there though, because he could see the progression to the first team. Whereas at Arsenal, as a left centre back or as a striker, your progression is miles off at Arsenal compared to what it is at Man United.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially United playing a back three. Like, he's going to look at it and think, wow, there's 3 centre backs playing every single week, and I'm a left-footed centre back, so I can go there, and I've only really got to be one guy's got to be injured for me to be sort of next in line.
Yeah.
So I kind of get that. And then for Obi Martin, he's going to look at it and think, it's bloody Hoyland playing up front. Like, if I get my chance and I bag a couple of goals, I'm in, and I stay in. Whereas at Arsenal, you're looking at 3 or 4 injuries before he goes in the side.
Yeah. And then I don't think that Arsenal wanted to fast track him. Arsenal probably told him, listen, maybe 2-3 seasons. And he probably thought, nah, like I want to play now or at least one more season. Then bring me into the first team. So yeah, you're right. I think he probably looked at that. United probably told him, yeah, listen, we'll have you on the bench at least on the bench, and see. We'll see what we go from there. And I remember him in the FA Cup against, I can't remember. Well, I think it was Fulham, and he had a few chances there as well. It's just like, I think it's gonna come soon. It will come soon. He just needs that like I said, that confidence, and then
it could be one that he gets one, and then all of a sudden just goes on a nice run of goals.
Yeah.
But we'll stay with Man United. Harry Amass, left back. He played against Newcastle, so I've seen a little bit of this kid, and he looks pretty decent. He's got a little bit of the Luke Shaw's about him. He's a similar build, just a bit taller, I would say.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say exactly the same thing, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad of that, because that is all I've seen of him. I've only seen him in that game, and he looks a very similar kind of player, which is a compliment, really, because as much as Luke Shaw's always injured, he's a fantastic left back.
Yeah. I heard last week, I think they lost against Wolves, but I heard like his name came about a lot.
Mm.
So I've not seen him, but I've heard like they lost, but they still spoke a lot about this guy. So maybe, who knows, next season.
Yeah, well, I would say he didn't look out of place, which is probably a little bit of a put down because Man United are rubbish at the minute. But
yeah.
he wasn't like against Newcastle. I would say he wasn't bad at all. He couldn't have really done anything about the result when we played him.
Did he start or did he just come on?
Pretty sure he played the full 90 against us.
He played full night. Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
He's only made 3 Premier League appearances and got 166 minutes, but I'm pretty sure he played at least 70, 75 minutes against us from the start.
Okay.
Again, at Man United, you can see his pathway into the first team. Unfortunately, Luke Shaw, it just has injury problems. It's just very unfortunate. So there's going to be spaces there. Who's the dude who played left back today?
Dorgu?
Kind of new.
Dorgu. Yeah, Dorgu. Yeah.
Right. Is he going to play every week? Is he going to be trusted? Again, good opportunity for Amass to get minutes. And let's face it, Man United are in shambles. So for them, it's probably good PR to get some more youngsters inside.
Was he? Well, so do you think was he playing left wing back? So
yeah, we was playing left wing back.
Oh, okay. I was questioning that because, like, I think against Wolves, I'd go and start.
I was going to say, was he quick, Mitch? I can't quite remember. He definitely weren't slow. Was he like quick?
He looked I wouldn't say he looked rapid, but he didn't like he had a little run with Murphy, who I would say is sort of average pace for a Premier League wide man, and he looked like he had an extra yard on what Murphy had.
Oh, okay.
So I would say he's the top end of sort of averagely paced Premier League players. He didn't look rapid though.
He's still got a couple of years of growing and fitness work. So
yeah, again, he's another one who's only 18, and he's big for a left back. To be fair, he's about 6 foot, between 6 foot and 6'1". So
yeah, nice,
decent size player. Right, we're getting to the point of the list where I don't know an awful lot about these players. So I'm going to go with Mikey Moore because I've heard Tottenham fans talk loads about this kid. And I've heard the word generational thrown out there. They're calling him Namor and crazy stuff like this. But he's not. He's not. Like, he's still a young lad. He's still only 17. But he hasn't, the times I've seen him, he hasn't really impressed me that much at all, to be honest. Has anyone else seen much of him?
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a bit.
What are your thoughts on him so far? Because he's played in the first team this season, he's played 15, 17 games for a combined of about 700 minutes, I would say. and he hasn't really done massive amounts. I can't really think of any moments where I've looked and thought, "Oh, he's a player."
He's got pace. I was going to say, I don't get the whole Namor stuff. I don't remember him doing too many skills, but all I remember is just knock the ball and run. Try
Okay.
run, man, and that's pretty much what I've seen from him. And
yeah, it's a weird one. I don't want to downplay the kid because he's still very young. It's just,
exactly.
I just find it weird that the Tottenham fans have raved so much about him.
Yeah,
But I haven't even really seen glimpses of what they're talking about. They're sort of like calling someone Namor is mad. But then looking at his stats from last season, we spoke about Chido's stats.
Yeah.
Mikey Moore. So last season he would have been 16 in the under 18 Premier League, 12 games, 14 goals, 8 assists. So he must have something about him to be doing that at 16 years old, 2 years above his age.
Yeah, but I feel like
I think sorry, I was going to say, from being on the Tottenham channel on Mondays, Spurs Kings, a couple of them have mentioned how Postecoglou's really just thrown the kids in to. It's not to their benefit. It's not to the players' benefit. You know what I mean? It feels like they've been like lambed to the slaughter a bit. Perhaps it's not a good side for him to come in to at the minute. Obviously, he's going to be delighted for the first 2 minutes, but perhaps maybe a more organised, better structured team would benefit his kind of play.
Similar with United.
Because they talk about him being great, but funny enough, going back to Orient, Jamie Donnelly's been out on loan and he's looked the business. Yeah. I'm not sure if he necessarily transmit to being a regular in the Prem, but he's certainly looked excellent at League One level. Perhaps loan football's a good option for Mikey Moore. He looked quite diminutive in size when I saw him, so maybe they don't want to send him out because it might be a bit physical.
I would go the opposite. That was the only thing that sort of impressed me with him when I saw him, is that he looked the size of a Premier League footballer. That he looks like he's in and around 6 foot 6'1", and he's not a skinny lad. I thought he was built quite well for his age, but I can't say I've been impressed with much else other than that, to be honest.
Yeah, same here. I'll be honest with you.
Is he played a lot of England youth football? He must have.
I would answer that, but I've literally just closed his page.
He was ready to move
on. Mate, I'm telling you, when you've got too many tabs open, it slows everything down. So I'm trying to get rid of them as quickly as possible.
Enough of this guy. Move on.
No, wait. Give me a sec. I'll get it back up and I'll have a look. So he's played through the ages. He's played 15, 16, 17s, 18s. Decent-ish stats throughout. So in the 15s, 4 games, 1 goal. 16s, 15 games, 7 goals. 17s, 12 games, 10 goals. And in the 19s, so far, he's played 9 games and 1 goal. He's not played for the 21s yet.
Yeah, still on 17. Just turned 17.
Yeah. But on the flip side of what you've just said, Samir, normally in England, if you're one of the top 17s, you're in and around the 21s.
Oh, yeah. Ethan's in 21.
In and around the 21s.
Yeah, he's 18. Oh, yeah. I think with Tottenham, I feel like if anyone was to come out of the youth right now, they're just going to try and hold this like youth to the standard of like Harry Kane. They're going to want to see the next Harry Kane and stuff like that. And I think that puts a lot of pressure on someone like him. And I think that's what's happening, you know.
I kind of get. Yeah, that happens to everybody. They'll always compare him to whoever the last one was to come through. But the Harry Kane comparison just wouldn't be fair because Harry Kane, how old was he when he was at Orient? Stocks 19, 20?
Yeah.
And he had a terrible loan at Orient.
Yeah.
Go to Orient and smash it up at 19, 20. He was terrible.
Mm.
Like, let's not play games here. He looked so bad.
Yeah.
And a couple of years later, he starts playing for Tottenham and starts goals in.
Yeah.
So to compare a 17-year-old to they want the next Harry Kane from him now would be crazy. When Harry Kane 2-3 years on was at Orient and was not looking a good player.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like one of them ones. Like when they're struggling, they're like, "Oh, I've seen it a few times. Oh, bring on Mikey Moore, bring in Mikey Moore." Like, how are you asking for a 17-year-old to come on? I think that's just too much pressure on him. Yeah. I think they like Stock said. I think they just threw him in there, and I think pressure because I've not seen him in a while. I just realized that I've not seen him in a while. Like even come off the bench. I've watched a lot of Tottenham games.
Absence makes the heart go fonder. In modern football, the person that's not playing is always better than the person that is.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Right, on to the next one. The one we're probably going to know the least about. Rio Ngumoha is what I'm going to go with as his pronunciation. He is only 16 years old. The reason I've put him in there is because he has made his debut in the FA Cup. And he looks like a very, very tricky winger. And the thing that stuck out most about him is he looks like a child, but he didn't play like a child, if that makes sense. He's one of them 16-year-olds that look 16. He's probably only about 5'7", 5'8". But he looks an explosive, tricky winger.
We're talking Sterling-esque.
Sterling-esque, yeah.
Oh, that's a shot.
Sterling-esque. His underlying numbers aren't what Sterling used to do, but he looks like he could be a special player if everything goes right for him.
Yeah.
One that would get people off their seat.
For
sure.
What side was he playing on?
Left. Plays on the left, yeah. Came on, I'm pretty sure he came on against Plymouth.
Oh, right. I was just thinking because he could.
Plymouth.
Yeah. I was thinking because, like you said with the Arsenal thing, like with Heaven and Obi, they didn't really have like a clear view into the first team. I think with him, especially on that left side, you never know in the next season or so he could possibly challenge Diaz because I don't think there's too many people who play on that left side from what I remember. I think it's just Diaz at the moment. So
yeah.
Diaz,
Gakpo goes out there now and again, but Liverpool have always been a side that will play the youth in one of the cups as well. So there'll be a way for him to get minutes, and I reckon with him already getting a few this season, there's a pathway for him to get more next season than most 17-year-olds will be in the league.
Definitely.
I don't know if it's like if you can read too much into it, but I remember hearing that Chelsea wanted to sign him at one point.
Chelsea want to sign every single youngster on every book of every single Premier League team.
But if Chelsea want to sign like this youngster, it probably tells us everything, innit?
I don't think that's the one though. Chelsea's not the one to say that they're a special youngster because they literally sign hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. That's Chelsea's model. Get as many youngsters as humanly possible for as cheap as possible so we can make a couple of million on each. If we do it with 20 of them and we make 3 mil on 20 of them, we've made £60 million. Like that's the way Chelsea operate.
Yeah, but they would go to like other clubs, not like Liverpool and Arsenal stuff. They'll go to like outside the league. But recently they've been they tried to go for Nico O'Reilly. We'll speak about him after, and this guy. So I reckon they probably seen there must be a player in him as well.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. I think he wait. Something tells me this kid was at Chelsea.
I know. I was thinking that as well.
I'm sure I've seen Chelsea on his stats when I looked for him earlier.
See if he was linked with Chelsea. He came from Chelsea. Maybe Chelsea wanted him back or something.
No, he came from Chelsea. So
Came from Chelsea.
last season he was at Chelsea.
Oh yeah, okay. I've got it the wrong way. Oh right, yeah. I thought
And
so.
now he's at Liverpool, and he started against Accrington Stanley in the FA Cup.
Okay.
So maybe he's done a similar thing. He can see us.
Yeah.
Either Liverpool have offered money that they couldn't refuse, or he's been given a clear pathway that he could potentially get first team minutes.
Yeah.
I'd say Liverpool would smack me as a pathway.
Yeah. Liverpool isn't one of them clubs that stacks up youngsters, and they'll offer young players incentives to say that you hit the target. This is your next move. This is the next step. This is the next step. This is the next step.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's money, you start Chelsea because they don't have very good accountants, obviously.
No. No.
Yeah.
Certainly not.
Very fair point. Can't argue that whatsoever. Right, we're down to the last three of this group, so we might as well do the Chelsea boys together. Josh Achempong and Tyrick George. I haven't really seen much of Tyrick George. I remember watching one game with Josh Achempong in it, who's an 18-year-old centre-back, and it worried me because he looked very good. And I was like, Chelsea have got themselves a player here because he looked strong in the tackle, composed on the ball, and his passing through the lines into midfield in that game especially was pretty special. He looked a little bit like who would I compare? Marc Guiu, but on the other side of the defence. So he played right centre back. That's who I'd compare him to, just a little bit taller.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Well, mate, there's no need to despair because they'll probably need to sell him soon to keep up with financial fair play. So,
but the funny thing is, they'll get money for him as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, they'll lump so much on.
Yeah, Tyrick George. I'm hearing a lot about him. Chelsea are starting to like him, but I think with a lot of these clubs, I think they're just taking their time with these players because he scored I think he scored the equaliser in their last game against Fulham, and and it was a good finish. But he's not going to start the week after that, is he? So I just feel like with a lot of teams, they're just taking their time with these youngsters instead of like the days he scored. So let's start him the week after, and let's start him the week after that. So I'm hearing a lot about him.
So Tyrick George has got a lot of minutes in the Europa League this season, Conference League this season. Yeah. So in the Premier League, he's played 7 games, 1 goal, 1 assist, but he's only played 97 minutes. Whereas in the Conference League, he's played 10 games, 1 goal, 1 assist, and he's played nearly 600 minutes. So he's getting on, and he's playing 60 minutes when he gets on the pitch in the Conference League.
Yeah.
So that's clearly good for his development. How old is he? Of interest. Tyrick George is 19. So he's at the upper end of his teens. So he's at the stage now where he will be looking for minutes regardless.
Yeah. Especially when he got that, I think that's his first Premier League goal. Yeah, you said, didn't it? Yeah, it's his first Premier League goal. He's going to be hungry for more now. It's either start me now or go find another club, maybe.
Yeah, it could potentially be that. It does. His minutes smack of Champo loan to me. Or if they can somehow get him a decent loan at the bottom half of the Prem.
Yeah, I'd say Champ.
I'd say Champo as well, because then bottom half Prem loans are risky.
Prem star.
They could loan him to Tottenham with that.
But then I think they're like, I think them loans never work. Like clubs that are also quite big clubs that have also got decent academies, loaning young players would just stop the growth of one of their own young players. Them type of ones never work. It'd have to be like a who's coming up. Even like Burnley and Leeds don't really like. Burnley might work because they haven't really got an academy at the minute, have they? They just siphon off the Man City boys when they leave there, don't they?
Yeah, I think it's kind of going down with the whole.
What was that?
he used to be Burnley's player for a lot of years. So anyone that sort of got released by Man United or Man City, they'd take him on. So like, yeah, Tom Heaton in goal, Trippier. Who's the centre back?
Ben Mee.
Ben Mee as well. Tarkowski. Oh, they bought Tarkowski from Brentford, didn't they?
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it served them well. Now they're getting a bit more buying from the continent, looking to play regularly to sell on. But it's a good model.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the whole loaning people out thing is kind of slowing down with all that. I don't really hear too many people going out on loan, like the 17, 18-year-olds. I think a lot of clubs are just keeping them around.
It's not the way it used to be, because it's like they'd rather keep them at their academies with their coaches and the high standard of players. Whereas sort of like in the 90s, everyone went out on loan.
Yeah.
Like Jermaine Defoe went out on loan to Bournemouth, broke records. Beckham went on loan to Preston. Things like that. That's just how you earn your stripes.
Yeah.
Like when I learned how to play man's football.
Yeah.
It was almost like a go out and develop your football man strength type of thing, rather than a actual technical progression of the player, where now clubs want to see the technical progression of the player, so they keep them at the club with the top youngsters. They keep them at the club so they can control it.
Yeah. I mean, like in the 90s, Giggs was the exception. He sort of like went in and stayed in, didn't he? But everyone else sort of had a loan. I suppose Scarles did it.
No, I think Scarles had a loan as well.
Did Scarles have a loan?
I'm pretty sure Scarles had a loan.
Fair enough.
I'll have a little look. See if I can find out.
I'm pretty sure. I don't think he did.
But yeah, as Mitch says, they're so interested on technical development now. They'd rather keep him in these multi-million-pound academies with all of the perks and the mod cons that they have accessible to it. Where sometimes you've got to go out and rough it.
Yeah.
You can build some character in them lower leagues.
100%.
Yep. Right. Last player from this group, we have Chris Rigg of Sunderland, who is just a Sunderland player. They haven't signed him from anywhere. He's come through the academy. He's 17 years old. A little bit similar to Freddie Potts. He's played nearly 3,000 minutes of football for Sunderland this season. He just plays on a different end of centre midfield. He plays as an attacking midfielder mainly. Looking at his positions, he's a very versatile young lad. He's played 20 in attacking mid, 8 as a proper CM, 5 as a centre forward, 2 as a defensive mid, 1 as a right winger, and 1 as a right midfielder. So he looks quite versatile, but to play that many minutes in a Sunderland side that are they guaranteed they're playoff now, aren't they? They can't go up automatically, can they? So the Sunderland side in the Championship, who are going to be in the playoff, there's been actually quite a bit of noise that both Newcastle and Man United are looking to potentially nick them off Sunderland if they don't come up this season.
West Ham were looking at him as well. I know Tottenham were, because obviously I think West Ham are trying to go with you'll play more here.
Yeah.
And a lot of teams are after
him.
I can't say I've seen much of him, but I've thrown him in because of how many minutes he's got in the Championship at 17 years old, which is very impressive. And there's been a lot of noise around another Sunderland midfielder, probably because of his name rather than what he's actually doing, in Joe Bellingham. So it's interesting that he seems to be going ever so slightly under the radar, even though he's playing an awful lot of minutes at a younger age.
Yeah.
Could well end up being to his benefit.
Yeah. Going under the radar, playing very well, and could potentially nick a move soon. Right. Let's not slow things down. Let's roll into the next bracket. we'll all know a little bit more about this little bunch because they've all had a few more minutes than the last lot we spoke about. So I will name them again from the top. Lewis Miley of Newcastle, Romeo Lavia of Chelsea, McAtee of Man City, Oliver Scarles of West Ham, Archie Gray Tottenham, Conor Bradley Liverpool, Tyler Dibling Southampton, Marc Guiu at Chelsea, and Lewis-Skelly, another West Ham player. Where to start? We've got 2 West Ham players in this one, but we'll start with Tyler Dibling. There's a lot of noise about Tyler Dibling.
Yeah.
Southampton just been relegated. He had a fantastic start to his Premier League career. He's probably fallen off ever so slightly during the end of the season, which is why he's in this list and not the next one up. But what are your thoughts on him? Because there's a lot of noise on him making a big move. So Newcastle interested, Man United interested. There's been talks of Liverpool potentially want him. Do you think he's done enough to warrant that sort of move already for what looks to be in and around circa 30 to 40 million pound?
I think so. I think he has. There's signs there, and the look of him. I just think he needs the right coach. I think he needs the right coach, and just like to improve him a bit. He's got the technical. I mean, the dribbling abilities is there. You can see it. And how old is he?
I believe he's 19.
19. Yeah,
he is. Yeah, he's 19. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take a chance. If we didn't have like a Saka or anyone, I'd probably take a chance. There's something there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd buy him and loan him back to Southampton. Where West Ham played Southampton a couple of weeks ago, I spoke to John about him, and he was already getting mooted for a move in January. But apparently, when nothing come of that, he was a little bit down tools. Like the performances were markedly different, and I know like you shouldn't judge someone on one thing, but he missed an absolute sitter against West Ham, like a proper sitter. And he come off the bench. I thought they'd be playing him a bit more. I mean, like the season's done, just get him into it a bit more. I don't know why that is. There's definitely potential though.
Yeah, I see potential.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential there. So I would say the fee is too high from what he's shown in the Premier League this season. He started off fantastically. His dribbling's amazing. He gets fouled a lot, but he's a right wing forward, as I like to call him. That he is. His output has been part of the problem as to why Southampton are getting relegated. And I know he's a very young player to put that on, but for someone then to slap £40 million on him on the hope that he improves his end product is a massive, massive risk.
Yeah, it's a risk.
And I would agree with Stocky's take of if someone's going to buy him, they should loan him back to Southampton for a year. But if you're spending 30 to 40 million pound on a player, why are you loaning him back?
Yeah, he's staying.
Because the thing is, though, with some clubs, they've got the means in that, like, say if everyone left him and he had a cracking year at Southampton in the Champo, then that's going to go up even more.
Is it though?
A little bit, not crazy money.
I think he's extremely talented, but there's more than talent that goes into making a good player. Give me someone with great mentality, steely attitude. I think that's more important.
Yeah.
Points.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone's throwing their toys out of the pram and not training as hard for not getting moved at that age, then you kind of think, whoa. And that's kind of what was sort of implied by John. Obviously, I could just make that up because I was drinking.
Yeah, my take would be that £40 million is too much. Is too much for someone you're not 100% sure on. He looks like he needs a lot of refining for £40 million. You could get a lot better elsewhere on the market. I actually believe you'd probably get James McAtee for that kind of fee, who I think is streets ahead of him at the minute.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We've got to go on to him now, surely.
Yeah, we'll instantly roll into it. Let me just do Dibling's numbers. Yeah, so he's played 30 games in the Prem, which total 1,700 minutes, and he's only 2 goals and 1 assist.
Oh well, yeah, it's Southampton, to be fair.
It is Southampton, but that side of things would still worry me because he's had chances to improve on that. But like we said, we will roll into James McAtee, who the thing I'm looking at, his fee is 10 million and less. Dibling, according to this, but I am on transfer market, which is never accurate. But he's all quite a bit older. He's got 5 years on him. He's 22, James McAtee. Once I saw he was 22, I nearly took him out of the list. But I think his ceiling is so high, and the fact he still hasn't fully broken through, I thought I had to throw him in because he's only played 13 Premier League games this season, which doesn't even make up 300 minutes of football. And I think he's a fantastic player. Samir, have you seen much of him, and what are your thoughts?
No, I really haven't, because I saw him when he was at it was Sheffield. At Sheffield, I thought, yeah, he was a bit tidy. I feel like with Pep wants to play him, but like can't, in a sense. He wants to play him, like he knows there's a baller there, but there's so many people ahead of him. But every time I've seen him come on, he changes the game, or he's either like, well, he gets a few goals here and a few assists there, but like he does look tidy on the ball. But yeah, we definitely need to see a lot more of him, definitely, because I agree, he is definitely up there, or could be up. Yeah.
Stocks, what are your thoughts?
Well, we spoke about a couple of other players for Championship loans. So he was on loan at Sheffield United for 2 years. So when he was in the Prem with them, he got 3 goals and 3 assists in what was like sort of like one of the poorer sides seen in the Prem. And I think in the year before in the Champo, he got 9, I think. 9 goals. And he must have been around 19, 20 at the time. So again, we've spoken about the benefits of playing a lot of Championship football, and I think that's it. I think it's harder for him because he's at Man City. I think it's that little bit harder to break through. But he's had some appearances this year. Didn't he get a hat-trick in the FA Cup against Salford or something?
I think he's got quite a few FA Cup goals this season. I was just looking through past years. So yeah, he's played 4 games in the FA Cup, got 3 goals. So yeah, one of them might have been a hat-trick. Let me see if I can find the game. Champions League, Friendlies, Premier League, FA Cup. Yeah, 3 goals against Salford in the 3rd round.
Again, Man City just seem to create these create a never-ending amount of attacking midfielders.
Yeah.
And I think that is his biggest problem. So all the other players we're kind of speaking about are wide attackers. He's more of a 10.
Yeah.
And we're in an era where there's not loads of 10s. And I get why he's come through at Man City, because they breed 10s. Like for the last 10, 15 years, they've always had excellent number 10s, from David Silva to maybe Bernardo Silva playing in there, to Kevin De Bruyne playing in there, to Phil Foden plays in there. So you can see how they've got a little conveyor belt of 10s going, because it's the way they play. But not loads of teams play 10s anymore, which is probably why he wasn't fantastic at Sheffield United, because from what I can gather, he was playing wide more than he was playing in the 10. And not many other clubs play with 10s for him to go on loan.
Yeah.
Would you see this as one where it's more likely that Man City will sell him for sort of 20 to 30 sort of thing, and they'll think we've made that much money on a homegrown player, and then he'll go on to fulfill potential on another side?
Yeah, I think he's one that I think he'll leave in the summer, and if he gets the right move, we'll see him really flourish. And it will be one that I genuinely feel it'll be another one that people look back and go, "Why have Man City sold him?" But you look at their team now, and you look at the players they've got. His pathway to start regular games it's a very uphill struggle because he's got Phil Foden. Marmouche is coming now, who I believe is going to be playing in the 10 off Haaland most of next season. So it's going to be tough for him to get in.
I just hope he doesn't like go to like one of the clubs that are coming up and stuff. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking hopefully he goes to like, well, apart from us, like a top or Liverpool, like a top 6, 7, 8 club. Like it
Yeah, but
has to be.
he's done that newly promoted thing now, though, isn't he?
Yeah, so I hope he doesn't do that again because there
Yeah.
is a player there. Like especially when he was at Sheffield United, I saw him a few times like dictating games. Like he had that confidence. I think if he wants to get to that next level, he has to. Obviously, it's not going to happen at City, but go to someone that's just trying to grow. Like a Bournemouth, maybe. A
Do
Bournemouth
you-
could do with someone like him if they get Europe.
That's a good shout. What I was going to say is I could potentially see him at Wolves when
Oh,
Cunha goes.
oh, that's a shout. But no, I wouldn't want. Nah, he shouldn't go to someone like Wolves. Like especially when they could potentially, especially when Cunha's leaving, they could potentially
Yeah, but
put
that's
him
his
back.
slot. That's his slot there. Wolves play the same system as Man United, so they play 2 10s. So if he's
Mm,
playing in one of them 10s, they're great. If
yeah,
Bournemouth lose Cliver,
yeah,
then again, McAtee would be a great signing to fill in
mm,
Clivert's role. But
yeah,
if they don't lose Cliver, he's still got to get in front of Cliver, who's had a fantastic season.
yeah. But if they bought him for big money, you would think, all right, he's has to start. If we're talking around 40, 30, 40
I don't
million,
think he goes for 40. I think he
no.
goes. I think he goes for the lower end of the 30s when he goes.
Oh, but teams like Chelsea and City find a way. These lot find a way to get
Nah.
money for these players.
Yeah, but they will. Like I reckon City take 30, just over
Mm.
30 million for him, 100%.
Because they sold what's his name? Burnley keeper Trafford for like 30 million before anyone even knew him.
They
Is that his name? Trafford? The Burnley keeper.
no way did they sell him for 30 million.
Yeah, it's big money. It's like big money. 20, 30. I think it was 30 million.
Oh well, I didn't realize it was that
Before,
much.
yeah,
Can't have
before
been because
anyone
we're
knew.
we're rumored to be getting him for that the bottom end of 20 mil, like 22 apparently, something like that.
I'm sure. I think Burnley paid big money for him.
All right, well maybe they did. I'll
Yeah.
have to have a look into that.
Because that's what I mean. Teams like Chelsea and City find a way.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it, but they will sell these players we don't know for 40, 30, 40 mil. And we're just like, what
Yeah.
the hell?
Right. Next one on this list, I am going to go with a player I've been really impressed with, Conor Bradley.
Yeah. I'm surprised we didn't start with him.
No, I
So,
wanted to leave him later on,
mm,
and I should have left him probably later than this, to be honest, because I feel
yeah.
that next season, if Trent goes,
When?
he is going to be one of the standout right backs in the league.
When Trent goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I genuinely feel this kid has the perfect mix of a throwback right back
Yeah.
and a today right back because he
Mm,
loves a tackle, but he is also very proficient in the final third.
yeah.
Like, I think he's got a massive, massive future ahead of him, to be fair.
Yeah. Totally agree.
I,
Bringing that, it's like bringing that old school right back stuff back finally. But yeah, just brave on the ball. But yeah, brave on the ball, brave going forward, brave defending. Just no, I think he does have a big, big, big future. Like I don't see the panic from Liverpool fans at the moment. You know how Trent's leaving, and it's like, oh, if I look at Conor Bradley, I'd be like, you know what, fuck it, Trent, you done it all for us. Here you go, because we've got another one on our hands, and yeah, Conor Bradley, big, big future coming from him, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was nodding along there as well, Stocks.
oh mate, I've liked him. I think the first game I properly noticed him was at League Cup final against Chelsea.
Yeah.
And I was like, bloody hell. Like,
Who's
this
this?
is a
Yeah.
player.
Yeah.
Massively, like, decent pace. He has got great engine. Like, he does get up and down that right-hand side the
Yeah.
whole game. I think when me and Mitch have been talking about this episode for a couple of months now.
Mm.
I think when I looked into this start of the season, he already had 23 Northern Ireland caps. That's
Wow.
That's
a
Wait,
lot.
what? Yeah.
That is a lot.
Yeah. And even before breaking into Liverpool side, he had a season at Bolton where he had 41 appearances.
Yeah, I was just about to say that Jack is a pleb for not being here, because this would have been perfect for him to tell us of how much Bradley infuriated him when he played for Bolton.
Did he break out this year? Was it last year? It was last season, so.
What's that? Did he break out?
Yeah, like
he was. Looking at this, I think he was at Bolton last year, was he not? Oh, am I going crazy?
Oh, so yeah, he must have broke through this season.
Oh no, Bolton was the season before. So he played 11 games in the Prem for Liverpool last year, and he's played 15 games in the Prem for Liverpool this year.
Yeah, because Stocks did say in the final, Carling Cup final. Yeah.
I thought he meant this year's cup final.
No, was it not last year?
Oh,
yeah, because he said against Chelsea. Yeah.
Oh, I missed the Chelsea bit. My bad.
Yeah.
But again, he's another one who's just snuck into his 20s. He's 21. He'll be 22 in July. So I feel it's just about the age where he's going to have a proper breakout season next season.
Yeah. Unless they sign another right back.
I highly doubt it. Liverpool will go out and they'll spend money big on a left back, and they'll bring in someone who will play behind Conor Bradley.
Yeah.
As the next up. I think he's that good that they're not even going to go and get a first team right back.
Mm.
Do you reckon they'll get like a kind of not quite a vet right back, but
potentially
like an experienced pro right back, just to teach him like some nuance?
Yeah,
potentially. Just depends who's out there.
Yeah, he's also playing next to a cracking pair of centre backs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
It all looks good for him.
Mm.
Yeah, future's looking bright. He's had a few muscle injuries this season, which is a slight worry, but hopefully they're just the end of that, your last bit of growth type of thing, where you pick up a few niggles where your body's getting used to new size and your muscles are extending and stuff like that. So hopefully that's just a bit of that, and it's not something that carries on throughout his career. Stocky, you're going in the spotlight again here. We're going to bolt both of these two together. Oscar Scarles, who you recommended when we spoke about this before, and also Lewis-Skelly, who I genuinely know nothing about other than you spent a fair bit of money on him from Brazil.
Yeah, I'd say the Guilherme one hasn't quite worked out. I think we spent 25 million to get him from Cruzeiro. Supremely talented, but going from like Brazilian Serie A to Premier League is quite a jump. And when you pay that much money, especially as West Ham for an 18-year-old, you think you can get someone who's mustard.
Yeah.
I'm so surprised he's done it. We've had our fingers burnt loads of times. But credit to him, he's made a few more appearances recently. He's come on a couple of times. He's started a game or two as well. It's been a long year for him, but he's had some more appearances under Potter, so maybe it's getting better. We haven't seen anything like jaw dropping, but he's having a few minutes. He's quick. We'll see. I think over time we can end up hitting a loss because that's what we do with transfers. There was a lot more to talk about with Scarles, who's been West Ham supporters have had their eye on him for a couple of years. I watched him in the FA Cup final. Funny enough, where we banged Arsenal 5-1 in the Emirates. And all the players are going on about. All the players everyone bangs on about for Arsenal now got humped on their own turf by a rabid West Ham support in the Emirates. Funny enough. Scarles can play centre mid as well, but we've been using him sort of left back.
Okay.
Another one.
Yeah, nice cultured footballer. I think Premier League football's a little bit too physical for him at the minute.
Yeah.
Could maybe do with a bit of thinning out, maybe, working on his explosiveness, because I think got a little bit highlighted the other week against Liverpool. Salah was giving him grief, but Salah gives him grief, so I don't exactly think it's a terminal thing. But
Wow.
he ousted Emerson.
He's played a lot of football, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's played a lot of football. 50 games in your under 18s, 45 in your 21s, now 16 for the first team. I'm not sure if this looks like it's from the 16 games in the first team. He's played like 6 different positions.
Yeah,
Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
It's even saying it says you've slung him up front once. That's got to be for the 21, surely.
That one was desperate.
Do you know what? His breakout game this year, once again, was at Arsenal.
Yeah, I remember.
He had a really good game.
He did.
He kept Nwaneri quiet.
Nwaneri,
yeah, I think I was generally worried for quite a while what we're going to do when Cresswell packs up. And I think we've got a player in a similar kind of mould. Like, proper top drawer. He had another couple of yards of pace. But just looks a good footballer. Hopefully carries on getting lots of minutes.
Fair enough. I've just found it. He played centre forward against Newcastle under 21s in September.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so he's played left mid, left wing, centre forward, centre mid, and left back, all for the under 21s, and he's just mainly played left mid and left back for the first team.
Yeah,
nice little bit of aggression there. Who do we have left? Let's go, Marc Guiu. I think that's how you pronounce it. A Spanish striker who I think is about 6'2", plays for Chelsea. He is Chelsea basically play Premier real life football how Stocky plays Football Manager. They have two completely different sides for Europe and the Premier League. And Marc Guiu is their Conference League striker. 6 games, 6 goals in the Conference League. Not bad at all.
I remember him getting a couple of goals for Barca last year in the big game.
Oh.
Yeah. And it felt like this was peak Chelsea just shelling out all the money on everyone. And he got a couple of goals for Barca and was being talked about like, oh, this is a player. They went and bought him. Then
it's not been
now sort of made everyone forget
who this guy is. Yeah.
What other youth footballers are usually like, because there's him. But yeah, I think he looks all right. Bit different. Big boy, tidy feet. What's not to like?
Yeah. What's that?
Has he had a few appearances in the Prem? I don't remember seeing him too much.
3. He's played 3 Prem games.
There we go.
He's played 3 Premier League games last season. He played in the Champions League, scored in the Champions League last season.
Okay.
1 goal in the Champions League for Barca last season. Scored against Atleti in the La Liga. Looks like they were his only goals in the first team for Barca last season.
I'd like to know how much they bought him for.
I
imagine it weren't cheap.
It wouldn't have been cheap, no, Chelsea.
Burnley signed James Trafford for 15 million.
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be anywhere near 30.
I heard it was something shocking. It was like 30 million. We didn't even know him. Did someone we know tell you that?
No. Google, mate.
Oh, okay.
What did we do? Wiki. Trustworthy.
Can't even find. Oh no, Chelsea only paid. It says Chelsea only paid £6 million for him, for Marc Guiu. So they didn't splash out massive on him. But he's played 3 games in the Prem, up to 70 minutes total. He's played a full game in the FA Cup, played 14 minutes in the EFL Cup, and he's played most of his football in the Conference League.
Not a bad place to get a grand in.
Yeah, not too bad at all. Right. I'm going to go, in the last 3, I'm going to go Archie Gray first at Tottenham. 19 years old, had a great season for Leeds last season in the Championship, playing both right back and centre mid. I feel like he's been a bit hamstrung because of Tottenham's injuries this season, because he's been stuck at centre back for an awfully long time, and I don't think he's ever really going to be a centre back long term. But what do you reckon on him so far? What you've seen of him, Stocks?
It's a bit hard to tell. Like you say, when I saw him at Leeds in the Champions, I was really impressed. And we're subject to lots of Spurs chat these days. Loads of people bang on about him. But I feel sorry for him because he's had to play centre half in a team that doesn't defend very well. So he's been hung out to dry, really. And then there was a bit of excitement in him playing centre midfield today with who's the other young lad?
Bergvall.
Not Bergvall. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, they got absolutely pulled apart. Which, again, hung out to dry. Why are you doing that at Anfield?
Wait, so Ange played 19-year-old Gray and 18-year-old Bergvall as a midfield 2 at Anfield on the day that Liverpool were going to win the league.
Yep.
Oh, they might have had Maddison in there, who was captain.
That was awful. That is a sackable offence there for me. That is so bad.
Yeah, honestly is.
That is so bad.
Going into the biggest game of the season.
Yeah. Crazy. I kind of want to see if he turns out to be a good player. Just don't want to be for Tottenham.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to big him up too
much. Lot of hype for a few years now.
Yeah, he's had a lot of minutes for a 19-year-old as well, to be fair. He's played nearly 3,000 minutes through necessity for Tottenham this season. He played pretty much every game for Leeds last season as well.
You'd hope that doesn't catch out, because there's some players that play an awful lot of minutes when they're young.
Yeah, and it catches up. Yeah.
But Tottenham put out big money for him, so they must see something.
Yeah, they paid about 40 mil, didn't they?
Yeah, it's an awful lot.
I'd say when you saw him at centre back and you see Tottenham like concede a few goals, like you rarely looked at him and thought it was his fault. I thought when he was on the ball, he was a bit tidy, but he never really made like mistakes. It was always mostly the person next to him.
Yeah, that's a pretty fair point, to be fair.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I'm going to say about him.
Pretty fair point. Considering he's playing centre back, where last season for Leeds, I don't think he played there once. Well, he didn't. I'm looking at it now. He played right back 30 times, a proper centre mid 10, defensive mid 6, and attacking mid 3 times. And this season, he's played most of his football at centre back. Something like 25 games at centre back, which is
that's crazy.
Mental, really. Yeah.
It's almost like what's his name? Someone that used to play Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer. It's almost like that in a sense. They made him play everywhere.
Yeah.
I can't think of too many players that played for Tottenham that pretty much did that. I can only think of Eric Dyer, where they literally played him everywhere. Midfield, right back, centre back. When they're struggling. But he's all right, man. He's got a bright future, but he plays for Tottenham.
We'll see how he gets on over the years. See if he does actually become what Tottenham fans seem to think. He's another one I've heard the word generational used for, which gets thrown around way too. So yeah, we'll see where he goes from there. We only have 2 more left on this list.
Mm.
I'm going to go with Romeo Lavia because Lewis Miley's the big picture, so we're going to leave him till last. I think Lavia has got probably one of the highest ceilings of anybody on any of these lists. His biggest problem is he's always bloody injured.
That's so injured.
And it's hamstring, hamstring, which is a massive, massive worry. It's the only reason he's in this middle list and not in the top list for me.
Yeah.
Because if he'd not been injured, he'd definitely be in the top list. He's only played 13 games this season for Chelsea, yeah. And that is it's nowhere near as many games as he should have played already.
Yeah.
I think he's special. I genuinely think he's a special, special talent. But he's just never fit. He's played 600 minutes in the Premier this season.
That's bad.
Not good enough. Not good enough. He looked great for Brighton, was it last season, where he played 40-odd games? But this season is not even going to get anywhere near that. And Chelsea have bought him from Man City for quite a decent fee. Yeah. Who wants to go next on Romeo Lavia?
I reckon if he was fit, I think he would be their best midfielder right now. I honestly believe that if he stayed fit, he would be the best midfielder.
That's a big shout when he's got Caicedo to contend with. To be fair,
I know, but I think the first few games, I'm sure he played, and he was just outshining everyone. And I just think, yeah, if he was fit, I definitely think he would be their best midfielder. I don't think Caicedo really screams world class to me at the moment. But
okay.
I think Lavia, if he had a run of games, we'll be talking in that bracket, close enough. Because he is tidy, he does everything in midfield. He can pass, he can tackle. He does everything. Dribble, we can do all that. Like you said, the whole hamstring injury is just setting back.
It's a worrying trait to keep getting the same injury.
Yeah, at such a young age as well. I keep asking ages, but I don't really know his age.
He's 21.
21, exactly. That's crazy. At such a young age to be getting this many injuries. Only 13 games? You said
it's crazy. So he missed. At the beginning of the season, he missed, looks like 8 there, on to 8 games with an ankle injury. Then he came back, wasn't injured, then had a hamstring injury without even playing a game. Missed 5 games. He played 32 minutes against Crystal Palace and then missed 18 games. This must be last season.
Because he missed a lot of games last season.
This is last season, yeah. He missed 18 games at the end of last season with a hamstring injury. So, all in all, that's all last season. He missed something like 23 games with a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
And this season, it's just carried on. Early in the season, he missed 3 with a hamstring injury, came back, played for a bit, only played 1 full 90, was out with a hamstring injury for another 5, played 52 minutes, out with a hamstring injury for another 6, came back for 2 games, was on the bench for 1, played 8 minutes against Arsenal, and then he was out with that's 5 problem. But over the last 2 seasons, he's missed nearly 40 games with hamstring injuries.
He's broken, man. This is crazy, honestly.
Yeah, which is a very, very worrying sign for it to span over 2 seasons.
Honestly, we've barely seen him, but every time you see him, you just think, "Wow, what a player!" But yeah, it is. He ain't good at all.
I think the game really made me take notice this year. It come in against Liverpool.
Yeah, that's it. That's the game. Yeah.
Standout midfielder on the pitch.
Yeah.
Whilst he was on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played 53 minutes against Liverpool earlier in the season.
He had to come off, innit? Or did he come on?
I'm guessing he would have had to come off if he's played 53 minutes.
Yeah, come off.
It's very weird for him to come on in the first half unless someone else got injured.
No, yeah,
Yeah, I
he was
remember
excellent.
he was outstanding.
Mm. So I think he was at Man City, picked him from Anderlecht. He had a year at Southampton with
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite like
we found him.
sold with buyback clauses and everything.
Yeah,
It's highly rated. That them injuries are really going to hold you back. Hopefully, he can shake them off because they'd have quite the midfield Indian room in there with Enzo Casado and him. I'd
Mm.
say he'd be at the pivot because I think he could orchestrate a bit better
yeah,
from back
Yeah.
there.
yeah.
More in control, let them two go swashbuckling, being all action. I think he's a bit more refined and a bit more classy touch.
Composed. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that, and that's why I'd say he would have been their best midfielder because there's a lot like stuff stops him right there.
Yeah, I think he could be a special player. I just feel that at the minute we're looking at another one that could end up in the Diaby. What was his name? Was his name Diaby? He used to play for Arsenal.
Yeah,
Diaby.
He could go down in them what could have been type of bracket. Diaby, Woodgate, Wiltshire. You've seen they can be class, but they're not class for a period of time because they always just keep getting injured, and
yeah.
that's the worry for me.
That's so annoying, man.
Yeah.
That is.
Right, last one on this list. I have quite selfishly left him for last and give him the biggest picture, but I genuinely have stupidly high hopes for this kid, and it's Lewis Miley. I think he is primed to be someone that plays a stupid amount of games for England. He will be one of the best midfielders in the country in the next couple of years, in my mind. Like, I remember watching him. It wasn't this season; it was last preseason, and he came on in a friendly game. I'm pretty sure he was out in America,
Yeah, I
and
remember seeing.
and it's not what he does on the. It's not like the stuff he does. Like his touch is excellent. His passing off both feet is excellent. He's massive as well. By the way, he's probably about 6'4", 6'5" now. He's got decent pace about him. He can get about the pitch. But the thing that has always stood out to me is the ball comes to him, and times like everything seems to slow down. He seems to have so much time. And the first time I saw it happen, he was about 16, and I was like, that's not normal to be playing against another. I'm pretty sure it was another Prem team who was pretty much full strength. And every time he got it, the game just seemed to slow down around him. And he makes the correct decision like 99 times out of 100.
Mm.
His ceiling is ridiculous. Last season, we saw loads of him due to injuries, held his own away to PSG, held his own in various other games, never looked like the problem when things weren't going, like similar to Archie Gray, where you say Tottenham have conceded goals, but he's not the problem. Lewis Miley never looked like the problem when things weren't going right for Newcastle. And he's only not playing games now because we have genuinely got one of the best midfield threes in the league. But I think his ceiling's like ridiculously high. I think he is an exceptional player and he can do literally a bit of every part of the game. But Samir's disappeared for a minute. Stocky, what are your thoughts on him, Stocks?
I remember seeing him live when we went and watched Newcastle against Fulham in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
We went down to the cottage and I was surprised at the size of him.
I actually remember that. You turned around to me when they were warming up and was like, oh, he's a big lad. And I was like, yeah, he's 17.
Funny enough, it seems counterintuitive to say this for a 17-year-old. But what I would say is you getting Champions League football would be really good for his development because he won't necessarily play loads in the Champions League, but he will get a lot more football through rotation.
Yeah.
Because simply you'll have to do it with them three. and just like coming in with players of the ilk of Tonali and Gamera is just really going to help him. Yeah, well, you guaranteed European football next year, depending on the competition, and I think it'll be vital for development. I'd say if it's Europa League, he'd probably start a few, and he'll get games in the league as well.
Yeah,
It can only be a good thing.
Yeah, my last thing I'm going to say on him is he's 18.
Yeah.
He's not long turned. Oh no, he turns 19 soon. He's already captained England under 21s.
No, that's the same. I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the last thing I'm going to say on him. I've done my long spiel already. I've sold him to the world. So
you sold it to us.
Yeah, but Samir, have you seen much of him? What are your thoughts?
Not a lot, and I blame your club for that because he's just not playing. But at the same time, your midfield three are like they are one of the best in the league. So how you gonna change that? But yeah, I remember the games against PSG and stuff, and I saw him where he scored he scored one goal this year, innit? I think I remember
He's
seeing
got two. He got one against Bromley in the FA Cup.
No, in the Prem, sorry.
And he got one against, I can't remember who he got it against in the Prem.
Yeah, I remember that. And it was a good goal, but I can't remember who was
His
against.
one against Bromley, I know it's only Bromley, was an absolute screamer. Like crazy.
Yeah.
Who did he score? He scored against Forest.
Forest, yeah. Oh, yeah. We batted. Yeah, I remember you speaking about him like 2 years ago on Twitter, saying, "Yeah, this Lewis Miley." But then when we actually saw him, I was like, right, okay, he might be onto something here. And yeah, unfortunately for him, like I said, you got the midfield three. But yeah, I think we got you got a good player on your hands there.
Yeah.
If one of the Tonali or Jolinton, one of them get injured. But even that, he still doesn't play, you know.
His biggest problem is the midfield three. His second biggest problem is how sees him as more Tonali Bruno than Joe Linton.
Yeah.
So the one we rotate normally is Joe Linton. So Willock comes in because he's our second Joe Linton. He doesn't see Miley as that same type of player. So we very rarely rotate out Bruno or Tonali, which is why he's not getting any minutes. Because he sees him as one of them roles, either the right CM or the six. And both of them two play pretty much every single game. If they saw him as the Joe Linton similar type of role, he would have played a lot more minutes this season.
Okay.
And I think the thing that hit him was he broke his foot end of last season, and that carried into beginning of this season. So he wasn't fit until probably the mid of October.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, he probably needs a loan then, if that's the case.
Nah, he's gone past that. He's gone past that. He's definitely gone past that. He's next in line. Once, if we're going to rest or they're injured, one of Tonali or Bruno, he's the one who's going to play next. There's no way we can loan him out.
Yeah, but then what if they don't get injured? That's
but we've got European football next season.
Oh yeah, you're going to rotate.
So we're going to have to rotate him out, as Stocky was saying. If we end up if we fall off a cliff and don't get Europa League or Champions League, we're going to be in the Europa Conference where he'll play pretty much every game, I feel. If we end up in the Europa League, he'll play a few games. If we end up in the Champions League, he'll get more league games and cup games in England. So
yeah, all right, yeah, that makes sense.
The minutes will be there next season. He is only 18, but I feel like he's got a stupidly high ceiling.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. I believe that, to be fair.
Right. The final group of the evening. Now, everybody watching should know who every single one of these are, because they're all getting very good minutes in the Premier League now and doing well. So, top left, Omari Hutchinson, fantastic season for Ipswich last season in the Champo. now played a decent season, although Ipswich have gone down. He hasn't looked out of place in the Premier League this season either. Kerkez, who, as we were speaking about Liverpool earlier, could be the left back they're looking at. Yankubu Minteh, Newcastle had to sell him for PSR reasons, has played most of the season for Brighton, played a lot of games. Kobbie Mainoo, injured quite a lot this season, but has played for England in the Euros. Nwaneri, who's got the big picture because he's just special. Arsenal's back up to Saka at the minute. Lewis-Skelly scored on his England debut. Rico Lewis has just scored in the FA Cup semi-final and plays quite a few games in a good Man City side. Lewis Bergvall, who's probably Tottenham's highlight of the season. And Lewis Hall, who I believe is one of the best left-backs in the league already. But I'm going to leave the Arsenal boys for last. As we've already half touched on it, we'll go for Miloz Kerkez, the Hungarian left-back, 21 years old, plays for Bournemouth, who, if most people named a team of the season, he would be bracketed in the conversation with a couple of others, probably Robinson, Hall, and Lewis-Skelly, all would be bracketed with him, and there'd be a discussion to be had. What are your thoughts on Kerkez, Stocks? Because he was one of your suggestions when we brought this up a few months ago as well.
Yeah, Miles Skelly gets a lot of talk in his English, but I don't think there's much comparison between him and Kerkez. I think Kerkez is so far ahead of him in his development. Granted, he's played a lot of games. But I really think he's a quality player. I mean, somehow it almost feels like he gets a little bit downplayed because everyone go, oh yeah, he's having a really good side, really, really good year at Bournemouth, and then they'll move on to something else. A bit much like Poison at centre back as well for Bournemouth, who's I think could have maybe snuck onto this list as well, but only last minute. Like, he's already got 21. Well, at the beginning of the season, near the beginning of the season, he had 21 caps already for Hungary. He's already been at Milan. Apparently, when Milan signed him, Maldini called him up personally.
Wow.
If Maldini's calling you, you're a bit of a prospect, I would say.
Yeah.
He gets got. I think he got a screamer against someone this year. Was it Newcastle?
He scored a decent goal against us. Wouldn't quite call it a screamer, but it was decent.
Mate, he absolutely levered that. He nearly took the net off. Yeah, he's strong, quick, a modern fullback that can defend. That's fucking rarer than hen's teeth. Yeah, I just think he's excellent, and Liverpool won't go far wrong signing him at left back because anyone that signs him now, you'd say his next club, their fullback's going to be sorted for as long as he stays there. 8-9 years. I think he is a cracking player.
Yep.
It's going to cost a pretty penny, mind, but I think he's worth it.
Oh yeah.
Dibling was like, well, that's a lot of money. You'd pay 50, 60 for Kerkez, and you go, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Past Gvardiol, sort of beyond that, because I quite like Gvardiol, but I think Kerkez could be better than him.
Personally, I think Gvardiol long term will be a centre back. So
yeah, I agree.
I think, but yeah, as you're saying, I think Kerkez is a fantastic left back. If we didn't already have another person in this picture, Lewis Hall, I would be all for Newcastle attempting to sign him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's played a lot of games for a 21-year-old. He's already played 14,000 minutes of football as a 21-year-old, which is crazy when you think of it like that. He's played 5,000 minutes in the Prem. He's played 2,500 in Eredivisie. Like, he is already played a lot of top flight football and not looked out of place at all.
Yeah, from what I've seen him, he's pretty much everywhere. He does almost everything for Bournemouth. He's involved in almost everything. He takes their corners and stuff, and like what Stocks missed out on, and his delivery as well. Like his crosses are crazy.
Yeah.
Like from what I've seen with him, like on point, literally finding people. Like yeah, he's a good left back. It's like when you said about if you didn't have Lewis Holt, then maybe you would go for him. I think us as well, but Arsenal's a bit different because we don't like the whole overlapping crossing into the box thing. But he is good, and he's another one with a bright future, man. I like him. I'm quite jealous that Liverpool are going for him. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, he looks like he's going to be a top left back.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I agree.
I think he could literally right now. He could play for any club in the world.
Exactly.
Any club in the world. He could go to any club in the world and slot in easily. I don't think there's any club in the world that would turn him down. So yeah, he's got a very bright future ahead. It'd be interesting to see what happens with him over the summer, whether he does leave,
Yeah.
if Bournemouth nick European football, whether they can keep hold of him,
Mm.
and what they do to replace him if he does go.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, fantastic bit of scouting to bring him in because I'm not even going to pretend I knew anything about him before he came to the Premier League.
Yeah. No, did I?
Was he one of your FM signings at all, Stocks, before he was a Premier League player?
Nah, I did know him through FM,
Ah,
but I
okay.
didn't sign him.
Mm.
Fair enough. Fair play.
Balde at Barcelona is the big left back at the minute, maybe.
Right, next one. I reckon we roll on to Yankubu Minteh, who has played a lot of games for Brighton this season. He was on Newcastle's books. He hasn't actually ever been played for Newcastle. He hasn't ever been in a Newcastle squad in any competition whatsoever. We signed him. He went straight on loan to Feyenoord and then came back on loan from Feyenoord, and we sold him for PSR reasons to Brighton.
Mm.
Rapid right winger who gets the odd goal here and there. What are your thoughts on him, Samir?
Yeah, I like him. I
Yeah.
like him. Yeah, the way he takes on players, the way he's just so comfortable on the ball. I remember I was in a pub watching. I think it was you versus Brighton, and I think he scored in that game. He was amazing. Like honestly, just taking on people. I think he came on against us or played or started. I can't remember. Just seeing him a few times, I just think, yeah, this guy, yeah, he's tidy. He is tidy. Like one of them right wingers who are just not scared to take people on.
Mm.
And we're missing a lot of that. Like I'm missing a lot of that. Like people taking people on. I feel like him and Saka are pretty much the only ones that really go and look someone in the eye and take them on. No, but he's very very tidy. I like him.
Yeah, good player,
Yeah,
good player. What are your thoughts, Stock?
I'd say in this group here, I'd say he's the rawest player. In a lot of these players there are like kind of more, you'd say, more polished footballers,
Yeah.
mm,
but his impact through like sheer pace and, as Samir said, willing to take people on, making quite different to the rest of the group,
yeah,
which in turn probably makes him more effective to a degree. Um,
mm,
yeah, just I suppose in an age where everything's about recycling the ball and keeping possession and like tactically working into the areas you want it to do this one team move that everyone seems to like. So it'll just take someone on,
Yeah.
leads to a more interesting game when you're not
mm,
one of the two teams, if you know what
yeah,
I mean. Yeah, I think I'd like to see him improve on his final product. I'd say if he does that, then we could be talking serious stuff like essentially another one off the conveyor belt. Although big hand in from Feyenoord and yourselves on that.
Yeah, totally agree. He's one a little bit similar to Elliot Anderson. I was frustrated to see him go because I felt he could have brought something to us this season after watching sort of bits of him at Feyenoord. So he played at Feyenoord last year, played 30 odd games, got something like 16, 17 goal involvements, but a couple of them like took the piss. He looked like he did have something special about him. He's Brighton this season. He's got 9 or 10 goal involvements as well.
Yeah.
I feel like if PSR didn't hamstring us, we wouldn't even be considering having to win games to even get Champions League football now. I think it'd be secure. Having to rotate Murphy out and having something slightly different from the right hand side would have definitely added points to us instantly from there. So it's a frustrating one to lose him. But like Stocky said, if he can refine his final product, he's a problem.
He's learning, though, isn't
he is electric.
Yeah.
Electric. 20 years old. He's only really had 2 seasons in Europe, to be fair to him. So, and he's refined it a lot over the last 18 months as well. So, if he keeps on his progression, he could be a dangerous player in the Premier League.
Exactly that.
Okay, on to the next. Omari Hutchinson. Ipswich just been relegated. He's an attacking midfielder, sort of plays in the 10, can play on the left. Decent player. I've seen him score some cracking goals this season. He was excellent for Ipswich in their promotion season. I think they paid something like £25 million for him.
Yeah.
My first question on this is, do you think anybody else in the Premier League is going to take a gamble on him now that Ipswich are relegated?
Yes.
And do you think it's a gamble, or do you think you're getting a fully fledged Premier League player?
Yeah, I think a lot of Premier League teams will take him out, apart from us and Chelsea, because he came from us and went to Chelsea, and Chelsea sold him to Ipswich. Yeah, I could see him going to a lot of teams. I think someone like West Ham could do with someone like him. I think someone like I don't know, Brighton maybe. To see him at a team like that, but yeah, no, he is good. He is technically gifted. Wonder of a left foot. You know, he's not scared to shoot. That's another one. There's a lot of people nowadays are just so scared to shoot, and he's definitely someone that will just, you know what, I see the goal, bam, let it fly. And I think a lot of teams would take a chance of him. Maybe some of the clubs coming up as well will take a shot at him, but I would recommend someone like West Ham or Brighton or Bournemouth maybe. Yeah, take a chance on him.
Little question for you, Stocks, before you go. Do you think he could, thinking back to what we said earlier, become part of a little bit of a conveyor belt, like a little transfer roulette of number 10s moving about in the Prem? Because if Cunha goes, if potentially there's talk of Kluivert moving from Bournemouth, and then you've got Omari Hutchinson, who we're talking about now, McAtee, who we spoke about earlier. Do you reckon he could be one that comes into that little roulette where we could see a few number 10s move about in the Prem?
Possibly, because I think the only thing holding it back on that, it depends on what his contract was, because Ipswich did bring him in for like a club record 25 million.
Yeah.
So you'd imagine he was on a decent contract, and if they're going to lose him, they'd want to be well compensated for it. And you kind of think, what they're going to want, at least 10 to 15 profit on it. Is he kind of like, is he worth that to you? He may be worth that for Ipswich, but is he worth that to you to buy it? Can you guarantee his output on that money? Although I think he's a cracking player, if I was paying that kind of money, I'm not so sure yet. But what I would say is, it feels like he's been around for so long. Like, he's been talked of for a long time. He was at Chelsea, Charlton, Arsenal, back to Chelsea, then Ipswich. And he's only 20.
Yeah. Another one who's played a lot of football for his age.
He's always been spoken.
On stocks point, I reckon 10, 15 is almost a bargain. I
No,
think.
he Stocks is saying 10, 15 million above the 25 that Ipswich
Oh,
paid
okay,
for
yeah.
him.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah. I was about to say, I thought you meant,
Then it starts
yeah,
getting to a lot of money.
yeah. Oh no, yeah, I get you. But yeah, I think a lot of teams will take a punt at him. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of clubs are talking to his agent right now because yeah, there is a player there, and the fact that you said he's only still 20 years old, yeah, that just yeah,
No, he turned 21 in October.
21, yeah, that's still not
Yeah,
bad,
so
but
he's still
That's
it's
how long
still
we've been talking about this show.
yeah. And it genuinely is as well.
yeah,
But he's played what looks to be about 5,000 minutes of top level professional football. So he's played 44 games in the Champo, 28 in the Prem, handful of FA Cup, EFL Cup games. So he's had a lot of football.
mm,
A lot of football
He
for a
got
young
10
man.
goals and 6 assists in the Champo
yeah.
previous year.
He helped him a
So
lot
that's not
getting back
bad.
up. We were like upset, not upset, but like we were when he left us, we were just like, oh shit, like we've lost a good youth player right there. Like we were quite gutted when he left and went Chelsea because we was looking at Saka. We think, all right, yeah, we got another one in Hutchinson, but he's another one thinking I'm not gonna get into this team. Let me try somewhere else. But of all teams to go to, you go to Chelsea, and then I don't even think he probably had like 2 or 3 appearances there, and then yeah, they sold him for good money to be fair. But yeah, we were quite gutted that he left because, like Stock said, you heard his name for ages, and watching like his videos and stuff like that, we thought, yeah, this is the next up. But then he just wanted to leave and get first team football, which is fair enough to him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Just quick, one more question before we move on. Talking from the perspective of both of your clubs, if you had to sign one from Ipswich, who would you be taking? So you could get either of them for £35 million, yeah? Liam Delap or Omari Hutchinson?
Liam Delap.
Yeah,
Well, we
same.
both said that. We both said that at the same time. Yeah, Liam.
Same. Liam Delap probably should have been in this conversation. It was oversight from me. 33 games in the Premier this season, 12 goals, 2 assists. Still only 22 years old. And I think he is England's next number 9
Yeah,
for me. I think
yeah,
he's got so much about him. I was umming and ahhing until I watched him yesterday against Newcastle, and in the first half an hour, he was incredible.
yeah,
Like every time he got the ball, he drove forward. He either won a free kick or or corner or a throw in, and just relieved the pressure of his team. There's a lot of talk that now they've been relegated, that a clause has been activated where 30 to £35 million does it. I personally think Newcastle should have locked him in the changing room and given Ipswich £35 million to take home with them, because I would love him as an addition to our squad now.
yeah. Right,
I like. He's got a bit of edge about him.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that.
He's got the right amount of dickhead in him, I think.
Mm,
The right
yeah.
amount. Right, so next player in the picture we're going to talk about is Rico Lewis. I am going to tag a second player onto this because I've had a second mishap on players, and I'm going to tag Nico O'Reilly
Oh, good shot.
into the same bit of this conversation,
Mm.
just because I overlooked Nico O'Reilly the same way I did Liam Delap. We'll start with Rico Lewis, though, as he's in the picture. 20 years old, played a lot of games for Man City already. And not really sure what position he's going to be going forward. Could he be a fullback? Could he be a centre mid? Personally, I think he's more of a fullback. But, Stocky, what are your thoughts on Rico Lewis?
Always rated him highly. Saw him play for Man City against West Ham. I think it may have been this season.
Mm-hmm.
This season or last season. Can't quite remember. But me and my dad walked out the ground going, wow, what a player. absolutely run the show. Technically proficient to the nth degree, like exactly how you'd expect a Pep Guardiola fullback to be. Can play off both feet. His position's changing all the time. I assumed he'd be a fullback. Then I've seen him playing midfield. In the semi-final earlier on, I've never seen him so far forward. It's almost like he was a number 10 at times.
Talking on that, just before we move on, what Pep did with that was very clever because it looked like he played Bernardo Silva next to really deep. Bernardo Silva was between the centre backs for ages of the game, and the centre backs went so wide, which allowed Rico Lewis to play much further forward. But carry on. So I just thought I'd add that in.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it's nice to have a player like in Bernardo because you can put him wherever you want because he's going to keep the ball in it.
Yeah.
Anyways, but the fact that he usually plays fullback then can be that effective that far forward. Got a goal. Such an all-round player. I think he already got 1 or 2 England caps as well.
Yeah, he's got a couple of England caps now. Yeah.
You'd like to think there's more on the horizon. Even just from, because let's say like England have got to be in like tournament football that consistently. What a player to take a tournament football when you can play that many positions, all good, be good off both feet.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets quite the big build up that I think he merits. Me personally, I think he's a cracking player. Maybe suffered a little bit from City being up and down this year, but I think he is the business.
Looking at this, it looks like he's made his England debut 2 seasons ago. Made his England debut in 22-23 against Macedonia.
Oh, wow.
Which just baffles me. I thought I'd look back through to see how long he's been in the Man City first team, but he was in, 100% international, European qualifiers. Macedonia played left back in a 1-1 draw.
Drew in Macedonia.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Crazy, yeah, but he's been getting minutes for Man City since that season. He got 900 minutes in that season, and he's played a lot more minutes over the last 2.
Yeah.
But again, I echo what Stocky says. I think he's going to be a special player, regardless of where he ends up playing. I think he's probably a little bit too small to play in midfield full time unless you build the right midfield around him. So I think he will end up as a fullback, but one that inverts an awful lot.
Yeah. I'm gonna go the complete opposite way.
Okay.
I'm not his biggest fan.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not his biggest fan, and I base this kind of off because my brother-in-law is a City fan, and he ain't his biggest fan at the moment, and I don't know. I think I look at it because I look at him like he's 25, but then I forget he's only still 20.
Yeah.
So like the standards for him, because I think he started quite young as well. I think like the standards are not like he ain't like hitting the heights for me at the moment. Like in certain games, I see him struggle. When he comes on, City concede, like stuff like that. And like I don't really see too many crosses. Defensive wise, I don't really see him like doing too many tackles and stuff like that. Yeah, I've said tidy a lot today. He is a tidy player, but I don't really see like what you lot are talking about in a sense. Like, but at the same time, I do think he is young, and I do base it off of what my brother-in-law has been saying to me and stuff as well. But yeah, I'm not his biggest fan. I'll be real.
Okay. Fair
Yeah.
play. We'll leave it there for him. So what?
Yeah.
How do you feel about Nico O'Reilly then? Because he's just he's all of a sudden burst onto the scene for the Man City first team.
No, that's completely different. That guy is talented, very, very talented. I don't know. He just stands out as well. I just look at him. I think, wow, like at such a young age, like
It
you.
helps that he's about 6'6".
Yeah, that's true. That's
That kind
true.
of helps you stand out a little bit.
Yeah, and that's the difference between him and Rico Lewis. I think, in a sense, it's
Yeah, because
probably
there's about a foot between them.
yeah, it's that. But yeah, no, I like Nico. I really do. I don't want to, but I have to. But yeah, he is good.
Stocks.
Yeah, there's one there. I think we were probably speaking about him the other weekend off air. He's a number 10 that's playing left back, left mid.
Yeah.
Today he was like doing double drag backs around people in an FA Cup semi-final. You guys some bottle to do that. Looks good.
Yeah, I've got a theory that's based on absolutely nothing other than me just putting a little jigsaw together. I feel that this kid's the reason that Cole Palmer now plays for Chelsea. Because coming through in a similar position at a younger age and seeing how good he is, I reckon City knew they were going to have to let go of one at some point, and keeping Palmer and off guaranteeing him more time in the first team would have stunted Nico O'Reilly. And
Yeah.
I feel that's part of the reason why Cole Palmer was allowed to leave.
I think Chelsea even tried to sign him, Nico O'Reilly, in January, and City were just like, nah, not again, not again.
They're
There's
not
no,
having this one.
not this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree. I think I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I think he's a special player.
Mm.
Right. Next one, 19 now. I thought he was 18. 19-year-old Lewis Bergvall. Don't know an awful lot about him. He's Swedish. He's looked decent at times when I've seen him for Tottenham. He seems to drive a midfield pretty well. Not really all that flashy. Gets the odd goal. A lot of energy. Looks like he could be a good player. Tottenham fans I speak to speak of him quite highly, but they're pretty crap at the minute, so it's probably not hard to stand out in that side. Anybody else seen much of him or got any strong views of him either way? Because I'm unsure of him as a player at the minute.
I don't want to say I like him, but something along them lines. Like he's good. I've seen a few of his performances recently, and you just look at that midfield and you think there's so many experience in there, and he's the only one that stands out.
Okay.
Like you've got all this experience around him, and like most games, he's the only one that stands out. And like you don't, like Tottenham would lose, and you don't think, oh shit, he's had a bad game. Yeah, he's good on the ball. I've seen him whack a ball across the field, and it actually looks good. And I'm thinking, you know what? They actually might have a player on their hands if they are able to like build like a good midfield around him. I think at the moment they're struggling. It's like Man United in a sense. They're not up there right now. So like it's not. He's gonna look shit in a sense, but he's not. Like you get what I mean.
Yeah.
But no, he's good. He's good. He's a good midfielder. He's got engine. He's up and down the field. I feel sick complimenting Spurs fans, man. I mean Spurs players. I don't know about you.
Don't worry, it's not all that bad. It's not all that bad.
Like it makes me sick.
You can have the odd one.
Like everyone's thinking, shit, this guy's really watching Tottenham.
Have you got any strong views either way? It looks like a good bit of business because they got him from Dirk Jardin for £10 million. So looks a decent deal. But what are you saying on him, Stocks?
I think you summed it up quite nicely at the beginning when you said he is the bright spot in Tottenham season. You could say an awful lot of their players won before. He's one that's a bit of a shock. It's funny how they would say, I think I would say like him and Spence have been the pleasing ones, but I'd say there also is a little bit of them being generally quite shy, so it wouldn't take much to be a leading light in their season. I'd say I think I would rate him a little bit better than you two have, but I think he just needs more games. I think there's definitely something there, but I think he just needs to wisen up a bit. Sometimes his decision making can still be a bit young.
Yeah.
But obviously that comes with time. Like, this is his first season in the Prem. I'm sure the plan wasn't for him to play as much and to a degree be relied on. Again, that sort of goes on to the club things. I'm sure that Tottenham friends would agree with that. That's a club problem. But considering what he's been thrust into, I think he's done right. Be interested. Well, I don't really want to see Tottenham settle. I like seeing them dog shit. But if they were settled, it'd be interesting to see what he could provide. But I think he looks a good player and definitely good business at that price.
Yeah.
Nice. Right. Next one. We're getting down to the last few. Lewis Hall, Newcastle. I would like someone else to go first on Lewis Hall because I did Lewis Miley's big talk up. So I'd like someone else to talk Lewis Hall before I go because I've got very strong views on him, to be fair. I'd like to hear what
I know you. Look at you sitting back. You're ready to drop a bomb. He's good. I do like Lewis Hall. Yeah, I think I was slightly surprised Chelsea sold him, but he wanted to go in it because he supports Newcastle or something.
I'm not sure of everything around the deal, but we offered massive money for him after we wanted him on loan and we offered him playing time for that season, which he agreed. And there was a stipulation: if he played so many games, we'd have to sign him, and the signing was something like £30 million.
Yeah, that's a bargain because he's good. I honestly believe he's very, very good.
And his family are Newcastle fans, as is he.
Yeah, so that's what I thought. I heard he definitely wanted to go because he's a Newcastle fan. Yeah, I was shocked that Chelsea let him go because I saw him play a few games for Chelsea, and he's another one that played midfield, and they just said no, you're left back, and then he just now naturally just looks like a left back. Like you wouldn't want to see him play him in midfield. Good crosses on him as well. I don't know about him defensively too much. Like I don't think I've seen him that much defensively, but going forward, I see a lot. Like the overlaps, the crossing, the link up plays. Sometimes, yeah, I think he's a good player. You say he's like the best. I'd say top two left back at the moment. But at the same time, he's been injured for a while, isn't it?
Yeah, he got injured just before the final. He broke his ankle just before the League Cup final. About 2 or 3 games before the League Cup final. We won't see him again. Won't see him again this season.
Yeah, like when England was falling short of left backs, we were all screaming for him to start. And then he's played a few games, and he just naturally fitted into the team. I do like him. I do.
Mm-hmm. Stocked?
Funny enough, you've been going on about him for ages, and I've always said, at some point I'm gonna. But it seems to be whenever I actually watch Newcastle, it's Livramento playing left back and not him. So I haven't. Obviously, I've heard all of the hype and everything, but I like to make my own judgments, and I just haven't got, for various reasons, I haven't watched a lot. So I'm basing it on what you tell me, really. So you'd have to repeat it for everyone watching.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I was banging the Lewis Hall drum last season when he wasn't. Fuck off, you. I was banging the Lewis Hall drum last season when he wasn't getting very many minutes when we had a stupid amount of injuries. Because the snippets we saw of him looked he looked a player.
Mm.
But he came in probably last 3 or 4 games end of last season, and then started this season and just hit the ground running.
Mm.
And I think he's a fantastic left back. Like he's good going forward. He very rarely gets done defensively. The only half of football this season that I would say he got done would be Liverpool at St James's Park earlier on in the season. And it was because it wasn't he got done one-on-one. He just got caught out of position a couple of times, which led to Salah scoring and creating a goal.
Mm.
But outside of that, he was exceptional for us before his injury. He was on his way to player of the season. And I think most Newcastle fans would agree with that. He was on his way to being our player of the season if he just kept up his form, but then he got injured. And the lucky thing for us, we have another fullback who's exceptional as well in Livramento, who's come in and moved over to the left. And because of most wingers invert, him defensively just makes us look a lot more, look stupidly solid, because no right winger seems to get the better of him. But Lewis, I think he's amazing. I genuinely think he'll be England's first choice left back for the next 10 years, as long as he goes on. I know Samir will disagree because he's got Lewis-Skelly in the conversation, but I genuinely don't believe that's even that close. Like, Lewis-Skelly is a fabulous player and is fantastic on the ball, but how many times has he been caught out this season? Lewis Hall has not been caught out at all since coming to Newcastle in any situation. Skelly's been sent off against West Ham, dawdling on the ball. He gave away a penalty against Everton by trying to do something stupid in the defensive position. He's been sent off in another game, even though it got rescinded. Like, Lewis Hall doesn't do those things. Simple. And he's exceptional when putting the ball into the box as well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But that said, there's one more before we get on to the Arsenal boys. Kobbie Mainoo, who last season had his breakout season at Man United, went to the Euros with England, looked a decent player, very tidy on, looks a fantastic player on the ball. I'm told he's a DM. Don't believe it. I think he's a central midfielder that needs the right midfield around him for him to thrive.
Yeah.
I don't rate him anywhere near as highly as anybody else does. He runs through treacle, running towards his own goal. He does nothing when he's not got the ball at his feet, which is not good enough for a centre midfielder for me. He's great when he's got it on him, when he's got the ball, but he's not a number 10, so that doesn't cut it for me. But he gets raved about. He's England caps, gone to the Euros. Man United fans think he's the star boy. Well, after Ahmad, they think he's the star boy of the team. So has anybody else got different thoughts to me? Because I'm not in the fan camp of Kobbie Mainoo at all.
Okay. I feel like it was going like this, like for Mainoo, and now it's just gone bam, it's just stopped. I don't know. I think he's had a few injuries. United have a shocking squad. So there's like no one really there to like help him out and just like, guide him through certain games and or in training. I think he's mostly doing everything by himself. Like he's growing by himself because there's no one like putting an arm around him and stuff like that. And I don't know. I feel like with Mainoo, I think he just needs more time. Honestly, generally, I just think he needs more time. I think there is a player there that could hit the heights that we haven't seen before, but it's just United at the moment, just slowing him down. Like, personally, for me, don't know if you agree with that, Stocks, but yeah, I think it's just the whole United thing. I don't think it's him as a player, because I think he is a very, very good player and could be world class. Because if they were selling him tomorrow, I think I would love to be first in line to just like buy him. Honestly, because there is a player there. There is.
What, for the 50 mil or whatever they'd want for him?
Yeah, 50 mil in this day and age. That's nothing though. If we look at it, it's just nothing for someone who could be so so good. I think the way he started as well. I think like we haven't seen that in a midfielder in years. Like you speak about Miley and stuff, but I think Kobbie Mainoo has been better. He's got he's carried Man United a bit, you know. He's got him out of sticky situations most times.
Has he? Or has that been
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes?
Huh?
Has he, or has that been Bruno
No,
Fernandes?
I'd say like obviously mostly has been Bruno Fernandes. I say in certain games he has stepped up and looked
Kobbie
like.
Mainoo has 3 goal involvements all season.
Well, I mean, in the last 2 seasons, isn't it? So,
And he's played nearly 2,000 minutes of football. He has 3 goal involvements all season.
Yeah, but he's had some shit ass managers. Let's be real, man. Even this one now, he's had some terrible managers. And who's he playing with? Casemiro, and God knows who else.
Casemiro, Ugarte, Ericsson, and Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, that's not it.
Yeah,
that's not it. Could you imagine if he was playing? If he had like a, let's say with you lot with your midfield three, or you came to us and you had Declan Rice next to him, or I think that kind of helped him in for England as well, playing
but he's
alongside.
not good. He's not good enough to have other people doing work that he should be doing. He's not that level of player. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that. But Stocky, what are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, stop.
I kind of have him in the same sort of category of Bergvall. Yeah, he's good, but I feel at Man United he was thrust into positions and stardom and notoriety, that really was all a bit too soon. I think it was a lot of it because let's face it, Man United do have fucking ridiculous amount of supporters, followers, etc. And they used to be good, now they're shit, so they're desperate for something to hang their hopes on. And unfortunately, it all gone sour with Rashford, and Garnacho's not as good as they say they are. They always hope, this is going to be the next guy. And it doesn't work out. And then it fell to Mainoo. And I feel that I think he's just like a midfielder. In the modern, really, you tend to have sort of deep line midfielders that either create or break, and you have number 10 sort of forwards. And I don't think he really falls into either of those categories. No doubt he could be an excellent player, but I think you have to furnish the right players around him. And if you're gonna, is he worth setting up a whole side around? I'm not quite sure. He's had some injuries recently, so I'll tell you what, I'd say leave it this year. I think next year he's got to put up or shut up a little bit.
I got a feeling he's got to leave that club. He's got to leave because I don't see him improving.
It's a bit like one of those things though, because he's at Man United and he's English, he's going to be worth so much money.
Oh yeah.
Is that worth someone paying that money? Is he going to be? Are you going to get value for your money by paying what Man United want? I don't think he does. I don't think he offers that. He could be good. Like, look, if Man United had some structure, if they actually had an idea what they were doing and had some legs around him, maybe he could be really good in the right system. But to be fair, it's probably hard to look good there at the minute. But
exactly. Yeah. I've seen him score some quality goals. To be fair,
yeah, he's done well. And like I say, he's done well in the circumstances. I don't think he's quite worth the hype yet, but that's not to say that it can't click in the future.
Yeah.
Fair play. Fair enough. Right, Samir. I'm going to hand the floor to you. It's just your three boys left. Miles, Lewis-Skelly, and Ethan Nwaneri.
Right. Let's start with Lewis-Skelly because you was talking about Lewis Hall. and I was just biting to just reply. So, but it was your segment, so I allowed you. Lewis-Skelly, yes, he has his faults, but I think what he does on the pitch just outweighs all the negative stuff because the way he just so confident to like play against Real Madrid, against the Man City, against that. You everyone keeps forgetting like the guy only started playing for us in I think it's like November, almost towards the end of November. Christmas, I mean not Christmas, December, like start of December times. That's the only time he started like playing for us. And before that, we had Haaland talking to him, asking him, who the hell are you?" And then he's come back, he scored against Man City. Like you can't get stuff like that. Like with Skelly, I think he ain't the like Lewis Hall type to just overlap and cross and stuff like that. But the stuff he does defensively, the stuff he does in midfield to just like the composure to play a pass and stuff like that, I think is ridiculous. He's balanced on the ball, like to block someone to get to the wall and stuff like that. I think he's just like at such a young age. Everyone keeps forgetting he's only just turned 18. Like to do that, to look like you're flipping been playing here for 30 years and stuff. I think, yeah, he's just a class player, and he's just gonna hit the heights that I think he'll be better than Lewis Hall in the next few years. I'll be honest with you, Mitch, and I think he's gonna be England's number one based on like because you need that strength, you need that composure, especially England. I think you need that strength and composure, and I don't know, and that confidence, man. It just outshines everything for me. Honestly, with I don't know what you lot think about him, but I think he's already one of the best left backs in England at the moment.
I would say that's a stretch. I would
And
say he looks very good. He's good on the ball. At
yeah,
times, he's good defensively.
yeah,
At times, but I think when you really put pressure on him defensively, you see how pretty average he is in the defensive part of the pitch. He's had the odd game where he's been exceptional, but he's had games where he's been awful as well.
awful. That's a bit of a stretch, though.
When it comes to the defensive side of the game,
Yeah, because if you look at it,
everybody raved about his England debut where he got his goal.
Mm,
Every time he had to defend, he looked in trouble. like,
yeah, but
like
that's
he's a left back.
but you're not seeing the bigger picture. He
No, no,
started.
no, 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 no. I'm seeing the bigger picture. I'm seeing that you're only talking from the positive picture. I'm talking from the whole picture
Yeah,
of Miles Lewis-Skelly as a left back.
yeah,
And I agree with a lot of what you said. At times,
mm,
he looks great on the ball. He's fantastic holding it off. He's great when
yeah,
he's driving with the ball. When
yeah,
he's trying to hold players off, sometimes he looks great. But he's
yeah.
also been caught a couple of times by just trying to use his body strength. So you can't just say that's a positive without looking at the times. The one time he got sent off and the one time he gave away a penalty trying to do it.
Yeah, but that's what I think. But that's what I said at the beginning. I think his positives way outweighs the negative.
Mm,
Like I'd say a lot of people say way more positive than his actual negative. You say yeah against for England he struggled, but that's his debut. Like you said, he only started in November.
yeah.
Arsenal. He only started playing in November. There you go. You're playing against the Man City. You're playing against Real Madrid, and now you're getting a call up to England. Like I don't know anyone who's who's had a rise that quick like he has. And I think he's added to our defensive structure as well. I personally do. I think he's made us a lot stronger.
Well, the facts don't back that up, but okay.
What facts? We don't concede that much.
Yeah,
like,
but you conceded less last season. That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
When he wasn't in the team, so he kind of made you stronger when he's playing. When you concede more goals, that's
yeah,
a
but
fact.
wait, hold on. Yeah, but he only started playing from November.
Okay, yeah.
Let's forget that. We
We,
conceded more goals, but he only started playing from almost the end of November. And I don't think we conceded that many goals, especially we've only conceded 29 goals this season. I don't think we've conceded that many goals with him in it.
Hmm.
And I just think he Nah, yeah, I just think he's exceptional, man.
He
Honestly,
looks like he could be an exceptional player, but he's
yeah,
nowhere near the top 2 or 3 left backs in the league at the minute for me.
he's number at least top 2. Come on, let's be real.
No.
He's top 2, man.
We spoke about 2 left backs tonight that are better than him, and I think
Oh, Lewis will.
Kerkez.
Kerkez, yeah. I
I'd
don't know.
also say Anthony Robertson's above him.
Yeah, I just we forget about Robinson, innit?
Well,
But huh?
you might.
Yeah, but you said Lewis Hall was the best.
I said Lewis Hall will be England's number 1 for the next 10 years. I
Yeah.
stand by that statement because he does everything you've said that Lewis-Skelly does and more.
And more, yeah.
The only thing he doesn't do as well is drive with the ball.
Yeah. I just think no one really like with you. Like, you don't really look at Lewis-Skelly like that because he doesn't do what the other two do in terms of like having to overlap and cross. But that's
Yeah,
not.
he doesn't overlap and cross.
Yeah, that's
But
not on him though.
it is a win because Lewis Hall overlaps and crosses and inverts at the same time. So
Yeah, but we don't play that type of game.
Makes him a more complete left back.
Yeah, but we don't play that type of game though. That's the thing. We want him inverted. We want him just like playing the ball. We don't want that overlap. I don't even think we've done that with Zinchenko. I don't think we've done it with any of the left backs we've had. We don't do. Arteta doesn't play that game.
No,
But I wouldn't want to see him doing crosses and stuff anyway. So like that's pretty old school. But moving on to Ethan. Yeah, Ethan. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, there is a player, honestly, a player in there, but I don't know what it is now. I don't know if it's confidence. I don't know. Yeah, I think he's probably been found out as well because he's pretty much doing the same things over and over again. It's just like, yeah, beat a man, try try go to the right, but people are reading that, so he turns and pass. He turns back and passes, so he can't really dribble as much anymore. But yeah, he's still young. Let's get on to that. He's still young, but the guy, yeah, with his left foot, if he wants. It's like when I said with Hutchinson, he ain't afraid to shoot, and I feel like a lot of people right now are afraid to shoot. And yeah, he's got a bright future. If he went for Saka, I still think he'll be playing and have a lot of games. But obviously, since Saka's come back, he's been dropped to the bench, and that's probably knocked his confidence. To be fair, but he has struggled in a few games. But there are some games where he's just looked amazing. Yeah, and I just think give him a few years, and he's just gonna light up the Premier League. I truly believe that. I think he might be a number 10. I think he could be a number 10. Everyone keeps saying he should be on the wing, but I think he could be a number 10. So yeah, like I can't remember what we was talking about earlier, but there was talking about under 21s. He at 17 already playing for the under 21s, and there was talks about him playing for the first team. So that should just tell you everything. To be fair, but he's so talented, so talented at such a young age. Started at 15, and no one spoke about him. We didn't really hear about him too much. Like we heard of Lewis-Skelly, we heard of Smith Rowe, we've heard of Saka, like when they were all in the youth, but we never really heard of him, obviously because he was 15. But yeah, nah, he's got a bright future. Don't know what you two think, but
Cool. I saw you shaking your head a little bit there, Stocks.
I'll be perfectly honest, right? I find it hard to be objectionable about these because I hear so much fucking shit from two Bob. Not using it, by the way. I should say that. I hear so much shit from Arsenal because they fucking clog everything with their biased, one-eyed views. I find it really difficult to have an unbiased opinion about them. I don't think Skelly's a left back. I think he's a cracking footballer. I'm not convinced he's a left back. Like he's kind of like a left back, like Trent Alexander-Arnold is a right back. Like great footballer, but can he defend? Not really. But if he's in a side good enough to spend most of his time attacking, seldom will he get found out. But the problem is, I think it gets to a time when you need him to defend and he messes up. Everyone's going to go, well, I thought he was supposed to be good. But he's an excellent player. But again, I think he just, I think he needs like a couple of arms around him, like teach him. He's very young. He's very young. But I think he needs, if they're going to continue to play him left back, I really think he really needs to be taught how to be a left back. And I find it quite difficult in that Zinchenko plays left back, but I never saw him as a left back either. He looked more of a midfielder.
Yeah.
I always thought he looked better in midfield.
Yeah.
Perhaps that'd be a Skelly thing. Because I could see him like an inside left just bombing up all day long. And I think if you played that system where you had like a 3 in midfield, it'd be excellent. But as a left back, I'm not sure. Nwaneri is very interesting. I'd say his biggest problem about developing to the player that he could become is actually Saka, because they both play in the same spot.
Yeah.
What I also fear for him is being absolutely overhyped. I know you get loads of shock jocks on the internet that say things, but I've heard like ridiculous things like he should be in the England squad before Jared Bowen and fucking ridiculous things like that. Like, he ain't that good yet. Give him time. Don't put so much on him. Just let him do. Like, Saka, well, from my knowledge, he was never hyped, and then he come on and was like, bloody hell, he's good. Just let him do his own thing. Like, you don't have to tell everyone they're great. Just let him do it. Because like I've openly admitted, I get an aversion to it because everyone tells me they're great. Let me decide. I don't need the world to tell me they're good. And to be honest, I haven't seen enough of him yet. Like I've seen a couple of goals, and like that movement inside, off the right, open himself out, shoot.
Yeah.
Like it's really good, but at the same time, he's very young.
Yeah.
And he's got Saka that plays every minute he's available. So, like you said, I thought that was a really good point of perhaps moving him to a number 10 or a different position, because at Arsenal, he simply won't get the exposure to first team football he needs unless Saka's injured or you're resting him. He doesn't tend to get rested.
Yeah.
Cracking player, but got to play.
Yeah.
At some point, we'll have to. But I don't think it's an urgent thing now, but perhaps play him more than he's getting, because me and Mitch have said this. Arteta tends to flog his first choice 11 out and then complain when they're not fit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games where you've been cruising and these players can come on sooner.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe I think he needs some more minutes.
Yeah.
And then I'll have more of a rounded judgment. But at the minute, I'm just constantly bad at being told how good he is. And I'm yet to see it. I like to see things consistent.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah. I feel he's got a stupidly high ceiling.
Yeah.
I actually don't think most of his career will be at Arsenal.
Really?
I think he's got next season will be key. The only way he stays at Arsenal is if he somehow adapts to play on the left.
Ooh, that'll be hard.
Because Arsenal don't really... What's that?
I'd say that'd be good, because I think he could trump Martinelli. He's been off for a while now, Martinelli.
Yeah, but we're going to be looking to get someone to not replace Martinelli, but like play ahead of Martinelli. So I don't think that could happen. Yeah,
but then that's the problem. The Arsenal system, I see it as you don't really have a proper set 10. Like your closest player to a 10 is Odegaard, and then you have a Partey and a Rice. So where does Nwaneri get minutes for Arsenal? So next season will be key, because as we've just said, Saka basically never gets rest. He always plays, and he always will play. And it can't be, well, we've got Europe because you've had Europe.
Yeah.
and he plays every single game.
Yeah.
So it's going to get to the point that either he fits in a position which is at the minute on the left rather than on the right, or he moves to fulfill his potential. And I feel that next season will be key depending on how many minutes he gets.
Yeah.
I think his ceiling, I believe his ceiling is the highest out of every single player we've spoke about tonight, which is why he's the center of this picture. But he's got a massive roadblock in the way called Bukayo Saka.
Yeah. And Saka being young himself is not, it's not nice at all.
Yeah, Saka's 4 years older than him. So it's not like he's got a couple of years behind Saka and then Saka's gone. Unless someone at the club knows that Saka's going to go to Real Madrid in a couple of years, then within the next couple of years, I can see him moving on into a club where he's going to play games. And as much as Arsenal fans will probably turn around and go, no, I would never sell him. But if he becomes unhappy and he develops how everybody feels he's going to develop, he has to be playing week in, week out.
Exactly. It could happen. I'm not saying.
Who would you rather keep, Samir?
Huh?
In 2 seasons' time, who would you rather have, Saka or him?
I'll pick Saka, but I'm not selling him to any team in the Premier League. There's no way. I'm not selling Ethan to any team in the Premier League. There's absolutely no way. He's going abroad. He's going abroad. That's what he's going. And for big money too.
I said that about Declan. Money matters, mate.
We need a right winger.
But you got money, to be fair. What are we talking, 100 mil?
We could do it for 100 mil for who? We'll take Saka for 100 mil, not Nwaneri.
Ethan, in 2 years.
Hey, he's got to progress first.
Yeah, in 2 years. We want some money.
Yeah.
Time to change.
How ridiculous would it be? Because we're saying minutes. How ridiculous would it be to loan him to a mid-table front team?
I think after next season, it could potentially be the only thing that keeps him happy.
Yeah, I think that could possibly work as well.
But he still has to have a pathway into the team.
Yeah.
What's the point of him going on loan if he just comes back and he's sat behind Saka again?
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think Odegaard's position is too like. He's not like.
But I don't think either him or you'd have to adapt the way you play slightly. The Odegaard position isn't it's not a natural 10. It's sort of like a high 8 on the right of the midfield.
Yeah,
I don't think that would suit either him or Saka. Nwaneri or Saka couldn't do that.
Not Saka, no. But I think Nwaneri could possibly.
You've got to remember, Odegaard wins possession a lot. Like his tackling is very good for the position he plays.
Yeah.
So if you're putting someone else there, they have to have similar attributes, and neither of them need. Like Nwaneri's not gonna. I don't ever see him developing that as an attribute.
Yeah.
You'd almost be better off putting Rice over to the right and playing Lewis-Skelly on the left of your midfield.
Yeah. Yeah, it's scary talking about it, you know. I just realised that, you know, if he doesn't get too much games, he could be.
It's a problem coming because I think he's going to be a special player, and it's only going to be the end of next season. Next season is like his full breakout, so he's going to accept playing, let's say, 1,500 minutes for the season. But the season after that, he's going to be wanting closer to 3,000.
Yeah. I hope that Arteta learns though, because like from next season. So I hope he learns from this season, and you can possibly just rotate the two in certain Champions League games, in certain Premier League games. Like I don't think he will, but I hope he does, because I don't think he'll mind the whole rotating thing.
The problem is, what kind of contract is Saka on?
Yeah, I don't even know. I think we're trying to offer him a new one as well at the end of the season. So
if you're paying someone $250 a week or whatever it is you're going to be paying him,
$250.
If you're going to be paying him $250 a week, do you really want him paying 70% of your games?
Yeah,
at $250 a week, he's got to be playing 80-90% of your games.
He's on $350 and he could be getting more.
Like that's crazy. You don't pay someone that money and then rotate him out for 30% of the games. You just don't do that as a football club. It just doesn't make any sense.
That is so true. This is fucked up, man. I want a book game.
I think Arteta needs to use the subs more. Like,
Mhm.
I don't think just it.
starting Saka, but get him off when the game's won.
Yeah.
Eddie
Stop
Eddie
trying to
Howe,
drag
that
him
is my
in.
biggest criticism of Eddie Howe as well. We don't use our subs enough.
There's 5 subs now. It's like everyone's forgotten about it.
No, Arteta gets it. He gets it from Pep. If you look at Man City, they barely make any subs.
They do now, but 2 years ago they'd win a game 4-0 and make 1 sub.
No, but no, he still does that. I looked the other day. I was like, how many subs did you make this game? How many subs did you make this game? How many subs? He's still doing that stupid nonsense. Like they'll be winning 3-0 and he still makes only 1 sub. And you got like Grealish, you got Foden, and you got like all these like just not coming on.
Yeah, it's
So
mad,
yeah,
really.
I think that's where Arteta gets that stupidness from. 5 subs, like Stock says, you're not going to use all 5, and you're 3-0 up. Makes no sense.
Yeah, it's a weird one at times.
Hmm.
Right, boys, we've had another bumper show. There was less. There was actually more flow than last week. Last week me and Samir were just back and forth for about an hour, which made it drag on. there was less of that this week. So,
Yeah.
but
No,
there was a
because-
lot to talk about. I felt like we packed a lot into the 3 hours 10 minutes.
Bloody hell, man! Again, it just goes smooth. It just goes smooth. You don't even notice the time. That's cool. That's crazy.
We must have covered like 30 odd players though.
Yeah. So there was 3 groups of 9. So that's
Yeah.
27, and then we chucked in Delap
Nico O'Reilly.
and Nico O'Reilly. Yeah, so you're nearing 30. So
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
good effort. Good effort, to be fair.
Yeah.
Right. Anyone got anything to plug this week?
No, I'm just hoping big game Tuesday against PSG.
Yeah. We'll be watching. We will be watching. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah. Just hoping for the same minute like we gave Real Madrid. Just hoping for that. Yeah.
Cool. Stocks?
I think we've got like 3 game weeks of refereeing decisions to look at on SpursKingsTV tomorrow.
Yeah, we do have a bumper Monday night.
Mate, somehow I've got to do like 9 hours of work and another 9 hours of match of the day.
Yeah, there's an awful lot to get through tomorrow. I think so. It's a bumper edition of the Monday pitch on Spurs Kings.
Yeah. I'll be watching.
And then it's the Rivals Wednesday on Spurs Kings, which is another 3-hour show. So there's a lot of YouTubing going on this week. And also, I will drop it in the description and in the comments. Big up Dylan Florence, who run the London Marathon today for some kind of brain charity. I can't remember exactly what it was. Apologies for forgetting what that is, but big up anybody that ran the London Marathon today, actually, because it's one of the only things that I will never attempt on this planet, because I just know I'd never do it. So massive respect to all of you. Check out the link in the description, drop some money and all of that good stuff. So like, share, subscribe. See you guys next week, 9 p.m. Peace.
Chill out.